Aye, Captain.
Oh, welcome everybody to the stream.
Oh.
Welcome. We're not gonna watch SpongeBob.
Oh.
Yeah, we're not actually gonna play Grace Attorney Chronicles. We're actually gonna watch some SpongeBob and
The only
challenge
reason I'm
the
here.
DMCA.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we're gonna challenge that.
Oh, we're threatening the status quo.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, we're just gonna watch SpongeBob like that. But first, yeah, I mean, we're gonna just watch it in this courtroom. I think that's just better. Our resolve is literally just watching SpongeBob.
The final chapter. The resolve of Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
The Ryunosuke of Resolve Naruhodo.
What a way to start the final case off.
She's just gonna. All right. I thought that was just gonna play for the whole thing.
I thought about, but no. 3rd November, 9:14 a.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. Oh, voice mod. No, wait, I'm not ready, game. I'm not ready. Hold on.
We're moving on. We gotta keep going.
Okay. And also, the hear myself thing was on, so I just doubled. So let's go.
Spaghetti?
Stuff stream.
Yeah, those are the best kind of streams.
So, the time's finally come.
The time.
Okay? We unravel everything.
Yep.
I'll be counting on your support more than ever today, Miss Susato.
We're
Actually, I really
unraveling your
won't,
hair.
but it'll really just be me, probably. But listen, I appreciate any semblance of help that you could possibly provide. That is actually helpful. Miss Susato? Ah! Oh no! What's the matter, Miss Naruhodo?
I leave for a second and you got flipped. What did you do?
He said it.
I
Susato?
went to my door and you're just upside down.
Yeah, that's how this finale goes. Just whatever. Susato-san?
Yeah, yes, Miss Naruhodo?
Why are you my judicial assistant?
I'm sorry?
No, like really, why are you my judicial assistant if every single time you're gonna flip me over? This is the 9th time you flipped me over.
I'm sure it's not that big.
It is. So anyways, I was just saying that I'll be relying... No, forget. I'm not relying on your support today. I'm really not.
I'm sorry.
Judicial assistant.
I'm sorry. And of course, I know I could be rather incompetent at times, but I shan't let you down.
You know, the first step into admitting you have a problem is... The first step in solving a problem is admitting it. So I do appreciate that. The second solution to a problem...
You are a problem. Thanks for admitting it.
So yes, so for the second solution to that problem, would you mind helping me to my feet then?
Oh dear, I'm really very sorry.
Are you? Are you though? Are you?
Susato-san isn't her usual self at all.
Why
But
not?
that's hardly surprising, I suppose. She's just found out that her father is the partner of a world-famous detective. Not to mention... Good morning, sir.
Hey, buddy. Lord Van Zeeks!
Thank you for your efforts yesterday.
Did I hear that correctly? More thank yous from Van Zeeks?
What?
Oh, no, nothing. Just... I hope we could clear things up today.
I really can't make this man out. His face says, I hate you, but his words are almost jovial today.
God, I hate you.
In fact, he hasn't been very Reaper-like at all since this all beginning... In fact, he hasn't been very Reaper-like at all since this all... Wait. No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. at all since this all began yesterday. Okay. I get it.
I like the idea that there's just like random sounds in his head.
It just gets worse. It's not even words at this point. It's just sounds.
just you doing that clapping thing with the reverb was really funny.
Lord Van Zeeks, is it the Reaper, Miss Naruhodo?
It's the sound of Naruhodo's mind crumbling.
Good point. Even though I already knew that.
The Reaper. I suppose in hindsight, I shouldn't have allowed that misconception to go unchallenged.
Huh?
It was my tacit acceptance of that pseudonym. My failure to stop the Reaper becoming something more than a mere legend that led to all this.
But you're not to blame for that, Lord Van Zeeks. It's only because serious crime in the capital dropped off so sharply when the public started calling you that. That's why you didn't say anything, isn't it? I literally did not have any breath.
To be frank, I'm not sure that was the sole reason.
Your name's not Frank.
What do you mean?
There was a rumor at the time that the Reaper was really the ghost of my late brother. That, having been slain by the evil killer, Clint's restless spirit returned as some sort of demigod. To wield a deadly blade of justice where I, by dint of the law, could not.
Yes. Heard that story too.
Demigods.
When I lost him, I felt as though I'd lost my guiding light. I didn't know where to go or what to do. And so, in some small way, I wonder if perhaps those rumors made me feel his absence a little less keenly. Even if I knew it was just an illusion, just some nonsense conjured up by an over-imaginative public.
He was obviously extremely important to you. Lord Clint Van Zeeks. Well, what's important now is uncovering the truth. That's all that matters. I know that you didn't take anyone's life.
You sure about that?
And despite what anyone says, including my mind, I intend to prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt in court today.
I never thought I'd say this, but I can see it in your eyes. That burning desire to cut through all the lies and deception.
It's very unhealthy.
I can't deny it any longer. You are a lawyer of absolute integrity.
Thank you.
Now off with your head.
Now, tell me, why do I detect the scent of expensive tea leaves in the air?
Well, I have a child.
Well, it's because I have a child. She's adopted.
Oh, Iris, when did you get here?
Oh, Mickey Mouse, when did you get here?
Oh,
I bought you one of my special blends!
Oh, I thought
Hamzy!
for a split second, I thought that was a Tide Pod. I don't know why.
What? A Tide Pod?
Yeah, I thought my mind was just like, oh, Tide Pod, wait. I don't know why.
Mega,
But
you
it
now know
happened.
what I'm doing.
Oh no, what have you done?
Hamzy loves it! He says it helps to clear his head!
That's not all it clears.
Tide Pods. That explains everything.
That's why he's the way he is. Oh. I
No, that
see.
explains literally everything, actually. I'm not going to deny that. I now understand Holmes, and he really needs to get some help.
I think... I would rather not, thank you.
You know what? I think I'm good.
Oh!
That surely the first and last time I'll ever see a sight like this.
Iris has been trying to kill Sherlock this whole time, but it's failed.
I'll ever see a sight like this again because after this, I might die. I might die. I literally might die.
You seem different today, Iris.
Yeah.
Oh?
You look like an
Sorta.
icon for a multi-billion-dollar company.
Sort of subdued, I suppose?
Like a mouse.
I am not! I just came over my cold!
But cold.
Didn't you hear my voice change yesterday?
Oh, right! Oh, yeah, now, yeah, your voice is different. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What happened yesterday is obviously still playing on her mind a lot, probably. So yeah, I'm glad that shock of that also got over her cold. And she's clearly very troubled about having stolen that autopsy report from Dr. Sith's laboratory.
Alright then, good luck to you both! I have to make a move now.
Okay, don't shoot me! Oh! That was so loud. Oh, you're not staying?
No.
I thought you wanted to watch today's proceedings.
Nah.
Well, I'd like to cheer you on, obviously. But I've got lots to get ready.
Get ready? For what?
Oh, yes. Would you like to take this?
Isn't that one of the little felt dolls that's usually dangling from your knapsack?
Yes! It's a lucky charm! A little Holmesy that I made once.
It's a lucky charm.
Holmesy?
It looks more like a Harley to me.
Harley.
If for some reason you completely run out of options in the trial stay, then just pull this little Holmesy's ears as hard as you possibly can. That was
What?
redundant.
Pull his ears?
That's right. It's a way to bring good luck. I think you might need it.
I think you mean the feet.
Iris's lucky charm has been entered into the court record.
You think what we'll need is luck?
Yes.
I just sneaked a peek inside the courtroom. And it seemed very different to normal.
Well, yeah, I don't think you're supposed to be in there.
Yes, it would seem that a certain someone has decided to pull out all the stops.
What does that mean, and who?
What about Mr. Holmes, Iris?
I don't know. He was out all night and he hadn't come home by the time I left this morning.
Oh, I see.
Was Professor Mikotoba out all night too, do you think, Mr. Sato?
Yes, it would seem so. I telegraphed the hotel this morning,
Telegraph.
and apparently they didn't come back to their rooms last night at all.
They're dead.
They?
Father and Judge Jigoku, I mean.
Judge Jigoku too?
That's right. Nobody appears to have seen either of them since yesterday.
Counsel for the defense and the defendant.
Yeah.
Court's about to be in session. Please make your way inside the courtroom at once.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Good luck then, Ryu. Good luck, Susie.
Yes. Thanks, Iris.
And you, Mr. Reaper. I hope it goes well.
Once again, I thank you for the delicious tea. It was very soothing.
It was very soothing.
Oh, I'm so glad.
He just starts foaming at the mouth.
We must go inside now, Lord Antiques.
I'd rather not, thank you.
Well, let's do it, guys. Let's hope and not die. Ha ha.
Lord Van Zieks has always been the formidable prosecutor I've had to lock horns with in court. But not today. Today, I battle with another in pursuit of the truth. My best friend, Kazuma Asogi, who I trust more than anyone else in the world.
I don't.
Now I understand what it was that drew me here to Britain all those months ago.
All these
Now
those?
Now I know exactly what destiny had in store for me. It's all been leading up to this one day, to this one trial, to this final reckoning.
to this one final reckoning.
One final reckoning that I hope that my brain
One.
doesn't shatter.
3rd November, 9:30 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom.
Old Bailey. There's no judge.
It feels even more oppressive here than it did yesterday.
There are cold stares piercing me like knives from all sides today. What did I do?
Miss Naruhito! Look! Oh!
Oh!
Lord Strongheart!
Oh.
Cosimo must have known beforehand. Why didn't he tell me?
The ramifications of this trial now extend far beyond the murder of one Scotland Yard inspector. In fact, events have come to light that threaten to rock the very foundations of our country's legal system.
The escape of a condemned criminal on the night of his execution, the subsequent unlawful shooting of the man, and the revelation that prison staff must have been complicit in the jailbreak.
Britain is currently hosting influential members of the judiciary from countries all around the world. It is imperative that we uncover the truth in these proceedings to avoid international embarrassment. By royal decree, this will continue to be a closed trial, and one over which I, male Strongheart, exercise total and unequivocal authority.
Oh!
He's guilty.
The 6 jars flames just...
As was the case in yesterday's proceedings, those here present in the public gallery are distinguished members of our judiciary assembled to bear witness to a fair judicial process.
In other words, a collection of your acolytes, Lord Strongheart.
Oh, thank you. I really had no idea what he was saying.
You could say that, yes. On a personal note, I find this most distressing, Lord Van Zeeks. You were a prosecutor of exceptional talent.
Shut up! He was the one that literally was like, oh yes, this is like this is good or whatever because the crime went down. Shush.
Much like your brother Clint, in fact.
Oh.
Oh. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session for the trial of Barak Van Zeeks, who officially stands accused of murder. Counsels for the prosecution and defense, are you in full readiness to proceed?
Thank you for the
This is
follow.
Oh.
All right.
I was about to say this is not a music swap.
The defense is ready, my lord.
As is the prosecution.
Yesterday's proceedings brought to light a shocking and disturbing fact. There was a side to the victim, Inspector Tobias Gregson, that was unknown to his superiors at Scotland Yard.
Yes, he was carrying out operations in secret, which Scotland Yard knew nothing about.
And in those clandestine operations, he had an accomplice.
Mr. Daily Vigil, who would be given the inspector's identification and present himself around the capital in order to establish credible alibis for Gregson. In that way, Gregson appeared to be carrying out his regular Scotland Yard work when in fact he wasn't.
At the end of yesterday's session, Mr. Vigil, who had been suffering from amnesia, regained his memory. It would appear he buried his memories of the time deep inside himself as a means of self-preservation. Because, whilst he was engaged as chief warder at Barclay Prison, he abetted the convict's escape.
Mr. Vigil is currently recuperating at St. Sinner's. He's recovered enough to give a signed statement about his movements on the day prior to the incident. He's formally admitted to posing as Gregson whilst investigating the Red-Headed League.
Which brings us to the crucial issue of the victim's time of death. The defense yesterday proposed a suggestion that the victim may have been killed one day earlier. This was based largely on the discovery that the victim's pocket watch had not been wound.
The prosecution has something to report on that subject, my lord.
Oh, really? Go ahead, Prosecutor Sogi.
I met once again with the coroner yesterday to discuss the issue. She confirmed that the defense's suggestion could not be ruled out. It's entirely possible that Inspector Gregson was killed on 31st of October, the day before his body was discovered. I have here an updated autopsy report that includes the amended details. Thank you, by the way, Ryunosuke.
You're welcome.
An updated
Nasty.
autopsy report. That's just funny. But the official opinion of the investigation team was made clear yesterday. That the time of death was 5 p.m. on 1st November.
Well, it wasn't. Shut up.
There are indications of an attempt to disguise the real time of death, however. It seems that the natural decaying process of the victim's body may have been slowed by keeping it chilled.
That's out of the question. There are no refrigeration devices in that part of London large enough to accommodate a human corpse.
Is this literally gonna be like Ryunosuke and Cosmo versus Strongheart? I feel like it is. Shut up, my lord! This is more than just conjecture. And yes, I'm
Ryunosuke, do you have
eating.
food in your mouth?
Yes! I didn't have Cosmo, I didn't have breakfast. I woke up because literally... problems, nightmares, just that's all you need to know. Anyways, my lord, this is just more than just conjecture.
You will address me in a more respectful tone.
I'm already gonna die probably after this trial if I... Wait, does that still apply?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Oh. Well, anyway, this is evidence.
Go ahead. Don't be shy. Don't be shy, my boy.
There's evidence to support the idea. We must investigate it thoroughly.
Very well. The court will accept the new report as evidence. However, if this updated report is deemed to be accurate, it would give renewed significance to the movements of the victim on the day before the Fresno Street incident.
It would, yes. Especially since on that day, Inspector Gregson was using Mr. Vigil to cover up his real movements. It's conceivable that he was killed in the course of his secret activities.
Do I sense that the prosecution has some information regarding those activities?
Scotland Yard put an enormous effort into investigating that precise matter yesterday.
Oh. I
I think we should begin by presenting the results of that investigation work. So the prosecution calls its first witness now.
Oh. Ah.
State your name and occupation for the court. Inspector Ginny Lestrade, reporting. Representative of Scotland Yard. A self-conferred rank, but never mind that.
Gina? Again?
Oh, put her here.
What's your problem, Aldo? What's with that Gina? Again? Look, eh?
Sorry, you got me by eating noodles now, but ramen basically.
Ramen noodles.
It's not really ramen. It's just it's spaghetti. Anyways, point is,
Spaghetti.
yes,
The boss meant the world to me. He done more for me than anyone else ever did.
hello, Iris gave you a home.
Oh, Inspector Gregson, you mean?
He got me out of the back slums of the.
Whoa.
He got me out of the back slums of the East End and took me under his wing. Told me that life can have a purpose. So that's why I'm the best person to be standing here speaking for him.
Hey, Gina. Pizarro, stop eating my spaghetti. But no. Mine.
Absolutely absurd. Eating spaghetti in my courtroom.
My lord, if I knew you were here, I wouldn't have even brought the food in the first place. But I didn't know you would be here, but I have the food. I'm eating it anyway.
I didn't know you would make such implications, now did I?
Well, listen, no, but I didn't know you wouldn't be okay with me eating food. Like, I didn't even know you would be sitting in there instead of the other judge.
I think you should drop it.
Fine.
Oh, Gina.
Right. All out of the goodness of Gregson's heart. Not at all that he had his arm twisted by Mr. Holmes. No, and not that Iris also had something to help her out to have a roof to stay under too. No.
What's relevant to these proceedings is that the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigations yesterday has revealed that the victim was carrying out some assignment the police knew nothing about.
Very troubling.
So, Inspector Lestrade, let's hear exactly what it says in that report. Coming right up, sir. All yard detectives are supposed to follow orders and investigate what they're told. But a little search of the boss's office turned up a notebook that had a load of secret meetings in it.
Ooh.
According to that, the boss was looking into some smuggled goods dealings that day. Looks like it was a big job and all, but the coppers weren't onto it yet.
He found this guy called Heisenberg.
What matters most is, there's witnesses what saw the Reaper at the place too!
Smuggled goods? What?
I don't know, do I? I'm just telling you what was written in the book.
I'll throw the book at you.
The police sounds
Tobacco.
corrupt.
Tobacco, tea, spices, medicines, goods of all sorts flow into London by illegal channels from across the globe. It's well known that they're disposed of at regular black markets that take place in the capital. But the police are rarely able to locate them in time.
Wait, tea? Illegal tea?
Yes?
Did you say tea? Okay.
Illegal tea.
Tea and spices.
Oh,
Wait.
the most illegal products.
Oh no, wait. Is that where Iris gets her tea?
Oh, she imports it from the black market.
That's how she gets the finances.
That's how she gets the tea.
That's how she truly gets her finances.
They should have put tea in quotes.
in all serious, like, in all actuality, we think that Iris is getting money from her published works. No, it's from the smuggled tea.
Anyway.
Smuggled tea.
So, besides the smuggling of tea, Inspector Gregson was investigating one of those black markets.
It's been suggested that high-ranking government officials may be involved in black market activity. No doubt Gregson was trying to avoid details of his investigations being leaked to the involved parties. That would explain why he was operating on his own authority, without the odds knowledge.
And do we know where the dealings were taking place this time?
In a particular room of a certain exclusive London gentlemen's club. And on that day in question, the accused is known to have been there. That's the conclusion of Scotland Yard's investigation into the matter.
Yo, I can't believe Van Zeeks is smuggling tea.
That can't be!
We haven't heard anything about this. Anyways.
Members of the club have testified to it. There's no question. The accused, Baroque Van Zeeks, was present.
Then, that would be very significant testimony, then.
Oh my! But Lord Van Zeeks made no mention of this at all.
In short, Lord Van Zeeks had ample opportunity to murder the victim.
Cosima, don't look at me with that smug look.
Very well, then. Counsel for the defense, begin your cross-examination.
Excuse me?
Gina,
Carrots.
quit eating.
What are you looking at me for? I'm not eating carrots. It's Naruto over there.
What did I say about food?
My lord, you said nothing! You never told me to stop!
Let me get one thing straight, my boy. Put that food away, or you'll wish you were guilty.
Just auto hide it. Just hide it. Just hide it. Just hide it. Can I at least finish this one half of a carrot? Last one.
Let him.
Waste not.
Thank you, my lord. Thank you, Cosmo. Anyways, hold it. So, you follow orders, do you, Gina?
Nah, not me. I'm above all that, see?
Oh, got you. Oh,
I like
alright.
the way you said that.
Boss always had special orders for me. Grab us some fish and chips, or go and give Toby his grub. That kind of thing.
So, errands more than orders, then.
This detective is still an apprentice, after all.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this apprentice ain't one to sit around and wait to be told what to do, even by the boss. That's why I've been doing my own investigations into what happened. I didn't find much at first.
I stole everybody's attire.
Yee.
Hold it. So, you went through Inspector Gregson's things?
Yup, as part of the independent Lestrade investigation.
I'm sure your superiors would be delighted that you're taking the initiative.
So I snuck into his office when no one else was about. Because if anyone at the yard had seen me going in there, they'd have turfed me straight out on the street.
Turfed.
This is sounding less and less like an investigation and more like something else.
Thievery.
The prosecution understands that it was this very detective who discovered the notebook. You got that right! Nothing gets past Inspector Lestrade and their trusty assistant Chief Inspector Toby.
9.
What?
We found it in one of his desk drawers that had a full spawn.
9.
What?
7.
7.
That's impressive. I don't know why my mind just literally listed the numbers.
So then I went to hide myself where no one could find me in it, so I could have the bushes of what was written in it. Because if anyone at the yard had found me out, they'd have turned me straight onto the street.
Ah.
Haha.
I've given it in now, though, ain't I? And if it weren't for me, it would have never been found.
Hold it.
All that.
Do you have any idea where those dealings were taking place?
Yep. It was all there in the boss's notes. Let's see if I can remember. As I already said, the illegal dealings were due to take place at a gentleman's club.
Yes, I remember. But I was hoping to find out the name of the club.
That won't be necessary.
What? Why?
It's conceivable that the club might be used again by the smugglers in future.
What?
Therefore, the prosecution has been asked not to reveal the name in these proceedings.
What? Wait, but what?
Lord Strongheart said that Gregson must have suspected members of the judiciary to be involved.
I did say that, yes.
His acolytes. Because this is a closed trial.
Basically.
So what I'm hearing is that Britain is corrupt.
Yes, it is.
The police is corrupt. The judiciary is corrupt.
You can't just
Strongheart,
say
are
that.
you corrupt?
Go on with the cross-examination.
All right.
I don't know what all the fuss is about. It's right here. All I've got to do is read it out. I could too. I got this rain cane buttoned up now.
Then just say it.
Can I just show you what I can do? Come on, what's the arm?
The judge hasn't signaled his objection yet. I could try to find out. What should I do?
Insist.
This is a closed court. The proceedings are confidential, guys. Come on. There shouldn't be any possibility of the information being leaked.
As I explained, there is some possibility of politicians being involved in this affair.
Politicians.
What was that?
Nothing.
The prosecution is rightfully exercising caution, I imagine.
No, my lord. The prosecution has no objection.
I know he said this, but like, he angry. It's like Trevor. Nope. Have to. I said it. Now I have to.
What?
Angry.
I have no idea how close you are to
Cosima? That wasn't me! I didn't do anything!
There's no question that Inspector Gregson was looking into these black market dealings. However, it's not yet been established that he was on that particular trail on the day in question.
Huh?
If the defense requires to know the club's name, the prosecution has no intention of being obstructive.
Right then. I get to show off me reading skills.
Reading.
Go, Regina, read.
Apparently, the smuggled goods deal was going to happen at a gentleman's club called the Grouse.
The Groose. Yeah?
I want to pull the ears. I need luck.
What a charming little rabbity version of Mr. Holmes. Do you suppose that's how I receive him? Are you all right, Miss Naruhodo? Your eyes are vertically boring into the poor doll's eyes.
Poor eyes dolls.
Oh, sorry. I was just wondering. What do you suppose would happen if I were to tug its ears with all my might right now?
I'm
All
sure
might?
that we'll find out when the time is right. To become a proper gentleman, you really must learn stoic patience.
But I want to know!
Alright, Hold it! The grouse? Whatever?
Grouse.
Grouse, okay. What sort of
Grouse.
club is that?
Groose.
I ain't got the foggiest. Clothes ain't exactly my thing.
My favorite Zelda
But-
character.
I'm kind of curious.
They're not places where a foreign student like you would be readily admitted.
Have you looked in the mirror recently?
I tell you what. Me and Chief Inspector Toby could go in undercover.
Could you, though?
I could pick out a few good marks and see what else I could find out when I was in there.
I really don't think you should go picking out of anything. Anyway, that's where these black market dealings were going to take place, is it?
Yeah, it's gotta be. That's what the lower ranking detectives at the yard reckon.
Reckon.
Says the even lower ranking detective.
Detective. Huh? Hey.
Okay. Hold it. Holding. So how had Inspector Gregson come to find out about it in that case?
That's the question, ain't it? But I'm just an apprentice, so...
And why didn't he inform Scotland Yard of his findings?
Yeah, that's what I was asking myself. Cause, you know, I'm just an apprentice.
When it suits you, yes.
Anyway, point is, something went on in that club, no question.
You can't say that for certain, though, surely.
Yeah, I can.
Hold it! Lord Van Zeeks was at the club?
He was clubbing?
He was. Detectives who visited the club yesterday to make inquiries have confirmed it. Several members report having seen the accused being admitted to the room in question as a guest.
It looks like there's no disputing that he was there then.
Well, we know that Lord Van Zeeks was investigating Inspector Gregson, don't we? Perhaps he'd already discovered the inspector's secret notebook.
Which led him to the club, you mean? Maybe.
Presumably, then, there are also eyewitnesses who can testify that Gregson was there?
None have been identified at this time, no.
So the all-important victim wasn't seen at this mysterious club.
Oi! Why did you ask him to Inspector Lestrade, eh?
Alright. Where's Inspector Gregson? Where's Waldo?
So that's
Where
all got to work.
am-
Who's Waldo? It's Wally! This is Britain!
Brag!
Where's Holmes? Yeah, that's what I thought. None of y'all can answer that.
That's all I've got to work with.
He's
She's
dead.
not holding back with the ice-cold stare of hers, is she?
I really don't know what to make of all this.
Lord Van Zeeks told us that he was investigating Inspector Gregson, but he never once mentioned that he met the inspector the day before the incident.
You don't think Lord Van Zeeks could have been lying to us, do you?
That's not the only way to explain this.
Oh,
If everything Lord Van Zeeks has told us is true, then there must be a mistake in this testimony somewhere.
you mean there are details we've yet to uncover?
Exactly.
A clue, perhaps, that even Gina hasn't noticed. That's what we should be looking for here.
9.
Oh, yeah?
9.
Yeah.
I'm also eating spaghetti.
Somebody touch my spaghetti.
Spaghetti!
Oh, we have... No, we don't have the...
Hey, Gina, look at this rabbit.
Yeah, well, look at this rabbit. You want to know? Could you take a look at this rabbit?
Wait, did we ever find out what's in the box?
We never did.
Oh yeah, you never got the opportunity to check it.
Yeah, let me check it.
You got attacked by Toby.
Yeah, Fox.
Have you
What's
seen
in
this
the
huge gash
box?
across the side of the trunk here? It's gone right through the leather and into the metal behind.
Gosh, for a metal chest like this to have been so badly damaged. Whatever made the gash must have struck the side of the trunk with considerable force.
I wonder how it happened.
Wrong place! Ah! Final chapter of the game. I still don't know the controls.
Let's have a look inside.
Wow, there's nothing. Look, there's something inside.
Oh, let's see. It appears to be a passport, authorizing him to travel overseas.
Was Inspector Gregson about to go on a trip abroad then?
You
Perhaps
found
the
your
date of departure might tell us something. That was... Oh!
What is it?
It was for travel on 31st October, just one day before the incident.
What? Really? This passport has
There's
been
so-
entered into the court record.
There's something else about this box, by the way.
Gregson went to Canada the day before his body was discovered?
You got your passport? Can't let you in without your passport.
I think I have to come with you.
Oh.
Look at this dark stain here. Do you think?
Yes, I'm afraid so. I think it's blood.
Ugh, I knew you were going to say that. So that presumably means...
That this was present at the scene when Inspector Gregson was killed. It's the most logical conclusion, yes.
To think Gina's been carrying this around with her.
Oh my god.
If you didn't know any better, I suppose it does look like a grease stain from all the fish and chips.
One more thing.
That briefcase is the murder weapon. No, look at that.
Bottom.
Do you see that? There's something stuck in the side of the trunk here. It's glinting.
It looks like a fragment of metal of some sort.
It's
But it's wedged
glinting
in so
Van Zee.
tightly, I can't remove it.
Well, don't cut yourself. You'd better leave it, I think.
I
Is
think
that
that's
it?
it. Yes.
Okay. Within 1 week from destination, Canada, police business, permission for the applicant, and one additional person. This was for him and Gina.
Nah.
Alright, so what am I doing?
What do I do?
What am I doing? Right,
What?
I have to
Well,
do something.
obviously it relates to the amendment statement, this one.
Why am I still here?
Smuggle good deal was gonna happen at the gentleman's club called the Bruce.
The Bruce?
I just felt like saying objection.
My lord.
My lord, I said nothing.
Oh.
It was
Okay.
fiction.
It's not real. It didn't
Not
happen.
real. It didn't happen.
He's not real.
Okay. I don't think any. No, it's not.
What's in the card?
Soggy papers. No, that's gonna be probably later. No.
I'll give you a hint. You've heard the term grouse before.
Yeah, 9.
Wait, was it? Hold on.
Look at this grouse.
Okay.
Oh.
This one, no? I really have to look through all of this just to find grouse.
Hi, it's me. I'm Grouse.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up? Look at this wig.
Wig.
The gun. It says Grouse on it.
There's a
I'll give
big
you a
label.
hint. I'll give you another hint. First page.
It's the gun. I knew it.
It's my
not-
band. It's where the company made it.
Hi, I'm Grouse. Barclay Prison, aka Grouse.
Third hint. You went right over it.
I'm pretty sure I went right over all of them.
Yeah, 9.
All right, let's see. Gentlemen's Club.
9, here's a hint. Do better.
What even?
There he is, Grouse. We found him.
Grouse. Guys, we found him. It's Grouse. Oh man. I'm dead.
9, why you dead? 9, wait. What if?
Professor Mikotoba has wonderful handwriting, doesn't he? This dark-suited young man is not in the least bit untrustworthy. Is it just me, or does that make me sound extremely untrustworthy?
I do wish he'd at least call you a nice young man.
I'm really not sure that would help. At all.
The nice young grouse.
Oh, it looks like this is some sort of steamship ticket. The SS Grouse! First class cabin 001. Yokohama departure 11th of September. London arrival 1st November.
Ah, that's the boat that Professor Mikotoba and Judge Jigoku came on from Japan, isn't it?
Yes, I think it called at Dunkirk at the north coast of Canada for a night before finally arriving in Dover.
I think it's almost been a year since we've arrived in Dover on the SS Gloria.
On the SS
It
Goose.
seems a shame not to keep your ticket as a memento of your trip, don't you think?
Yes, I agree. I have mine safely in my diary.
And I keep mine in my wallet, so I have it with me at all times. Oh, well, how strange. Where could it have gone?
Are you like this on purpose, Miss Naruhodo?
Could I imagine it? Was that comment accompanied by a slight little sigh?
Well, anyways, I found it.
Grouse.
Objection.
Roosh.
Man, sorry, this took a while. I'm dumb, I can't read, but I've read about these clubs that exist here in Britain. Totally, absolutely did that. As I understand it, they're places where well-to-do gentlemen socialize with friends and colleagues.
Don't imagine for a second that a foreign student like you would be admitted.
Okay, seriously, what is that supposed to mean with that smug face of yours?
Seriously, is your mirror cracked or something?
Do we know for sure that the contraband dealings were definitely happening at a club called The Grouse?
The police are currently looking for evidence, but haven't found anything definitive yet.
And I'm sorry to say that they probably won't.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that the place Inspector Gregson was secretly going to visit on the 31st of October may not have been a gentleman's club at all.
You're showing a very irreverent attitude towards our country's police force there, Counsel.
And I'll keep doing that.
If it wasn't a gentleman's club, then what was it?
A steamship.
Bruh?
You think it's a ship?
I have the evidence to prove it. Here.
Let me see that. This dark-suited young man is not in the least bit untrustworthy.
The other side, my lord.
Be more specific next time, my
Well,
boy.
sorry, you were the one that jumped the gun.
This would appear to be a ticket for passage upon a steamship, yes. The SS Grouse.
Objection! So there's a steamship named the Grouse that happens to share a name with the club. But I'm afraid to say, there's a flaw in your logic there.
How?
Look at the ticket. Notice the date of arrival in port.
Ship arrived at Port of Dover on 1st November.
The day on which the sounds like a gunshot was heard on Fresno Street. In other words, on the day in question here, 31st of October, when the victim was on his clandestine mission, that ship hadn't yet docked on British shores.
That would certainly make an undercover investigation somewhat challenging.
Objection! The fact that the steamship hadn't yet reached Britain substantiates the defense assertion that the victim was investigating the SS Grouse on the day in question.
Then show your evidence for that assertion.
Very well.
In that case, counsel for the defense, present your evidence to the court now.
Okay, wait, so you're allowed to eat spaghetti and I apparently wasn't?
This is my courtroom. I make the rules.
Wait, so then you can do it and I
decide
can't?
who eats spaghetti in here.
So I can't even eat my carrots?
No!
Cosmo, you
Are we
hearing this?
clear?
Bear with it.
Now, is it actually bear with it, or are you gonna say try the man?
Bear with it.
All right.
Go ahead. Try me. Evidence that substantiates your claim that the victim was investigating the SS Grass on 31st October.
Ahem.
Do it now. Do it now. Right now. Right now. Do it right now. What was that noise?
He's eating a carrot.
Bear with it. Bear with it. What's this? A passport for travel issued to the victim? Big boy, would you shut up right now?
Oh.
Okay, dated 31st October. What are you suggesting?
I almost choked in fear, my lord. I'm sorry.
Karma.
You call it karma. I call it, I don't know. Anyways, I'm suggesting
No,
that
go
just
on.
one day
What do you
before the
call it? What
inspector's
do you
body
call it?
was discovered, there's a distinct possibility he wasn't even in the country.
That's stupid. Order! Order! This document is for passage to France. It does appear to have been officially authorized.
No, it says to Canada, my lord.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to get my glasses on. My apologies. It is to Canada.
Yes, so the day before the SS Grouse arrived at Dover, it docked on the northern coast of Canada for a night.
According to my father, who was on board, at the port of Dunkirk.
Dunkirk, Canada. Man, you know, I don't remember Dunkirk being in Canada, man. That's gotta be a crazy timeline.
To be fair, I don't really know any places in Canada. so I
Taken the
can't.
victim there to Dunkirk, Canada.
I'm impressed, Rinosuke Naruhodo.
Wait, are you laughing because you're impressed with me or for Dunkirk, Canada?
Yes. I certainly didn't expect you to get your hands on that passport.
What? You mean you knew about this?
The prosecution strategy for this trial has been laid down by the Crown Prosecution Office. On the day before the incident, the victim was investigating contraband dealings at a London club. That's the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigations, and the line the prosecution has been asked to follow. But personally, I don't agree. I think the prosecutor's office is trying to hide something.
What?
And now that you've expertly disproven their assertion, I intend to reveal what I believe that something to be.
What are you playing at, Prosecutor Sergi?
A courtroom is a forum for the truth, my lord. Which is why it's my duty to present all the facts, without exception.
Let me guess. This was your intention from the outset, wasn't it?
The reason Inspector Gregson secretly made his way to the steamship docked in Canada on the day in question was to carry out a mission for the Reaper.
The Reaper?
For the Reaper.
Here we go again.
Bang,
Jeez.
bang. Order, order. What on earth are you saying, counsel?
The prosecution made an assertion in court yesterday.
Oh, you do that a lot.
Inspector Gregson was investigating the identity of the Reaper.
When he discovered the location of the man's secret hideout, he was killed.
Why dead?
As I'm sure everyone can imagine, by the Reaper's hand! But in reality, the truth is the opposite of that.
What?
Inspector Gregson wasn't investigating the Reaper at all. He was, in fact, acting for the Reaper.
So, you're saying the mission he was undertaking was...
Obviously, an assassination. Baroque Van Zieks never carried out any of the actual killings. Whenever the Reaper's victims lost their lives, he always had a cast iron alibi. Which tells us that he must have had an accomplice.
And you claim that was Inspector Gregson?
Hold it! Hold it! What the hell do you think you're saying, eh? The boss would never have done nothing like that. And yet, when you consider all the facts, it all makes perfect sense. No! It can't be!
We also arrived at the same conclusion, didn't we? That Inspector Gregson was operating as the Reaper.
Even so, there's no way that the person giving him his orders was Lord Van Zieks.
No, the true Reaper is somebody else.
Baroque Van Zieks is not the Reaper.
A predictable response from someone who's advocating for the man.
Look, I know what you're trying to do and I appreciate it, but I really don't think it's him. And even if it's true that Gregson was operating as an agent of the Reaper, the suggestion that he went abroad, the SS Grouse, on an assassination mission doesn't follow at all.
Oh. You have some solid reason for doubting the assertion, do you, Counsel?
Absolutely. It's very simple. On the day
Is
in
it?
question, nobody was killed aboard the steamship.
How can you be sure?
They weren't. They weren't.
I am now scared for my life. Professor Mikotoba and Judge Jigoku were on that very ship. If someone had been assassinated, I'm certain we would have heard about it.
What's so funny now?
You're right, of course. No suspicious deaths were reported on board the ship.
That's why they burned it.
But I think perhaps you've missed the point. That's precisely why Inspector Gregson himself lost his life.
What?
Gregson did board the SS Grouse that night with the intention of dispatching his mark. But his mission ended in failure.
Failure?
It seems that the defense hasn't yet grasped a very important detail here.
He's dead.
What are you talking about?
What detail?
Inspector Gina Lestrade! What? The victim's notebook that you read an excerpt from earlier. That doesn't contain details of his secret investigations at all. It describes 10 years of assassination plots to be carried out by the Reaper of the Old Bailey. You're lying! Even if all the bludgeons what got taken out had it coming! The boss wants the Reaper!
Poor Gina.
There's no question that Tobias Gregson was heavily involved in the Reaper's activities. You may just be an apprentice, but if you spent any time at Scotland Yard, you must have heard rumors. I ain't heard nothing, and I don't believe a word of it! Then testify again, as a representative of Scotland Yard.
No.
Consider it your chance to defend your boss. I don't...
I concur. The witness will give a new formal testimony. Miss Lestrade, you will tell the court everything you know about Inspector Gregson's secret notebook. Hello there.
Hello there.
The Reaper's notebook.
Yeah, this notebook does have a lot of stuff about what the Reaper got up to these past 10 years. names of victims, dates, and places and stuff. And the last entry in there was the 31st of October. It said grouse for the place on that date, and then the name of the mark. There was a note about him being a criminal what got away from the Reaper in the court 10 years ago, Samat. But honest, the boss didn't do none of it. It was investigating the Reaper, that's all.
Keep personal opinion out of your testimony, witness. We require only established fact here.
This must be so hard for her.
You can't deny it now, surely, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
What can't I deny? Actually,
The notebook contained the Huh?
actually, what can't I deny? The fact that this girl here is like, you know, if you think about like, you know, logically and emotionally, he picked her up off the street to help her pick up on her feet and get her a job. Why would someone who is assisting with assassinations do that?
The
Come
notebook
on.
contained the name of the final mark and the location where the assassination would take place.
You don't
can
even
think of
answer that.
I can think of
That's
several
information that the
reasons.
victim could have only have known if he was working with the Reaper.
Ah, fine. Don't answer me.
If it makes you feel better, I can think of several reasons.
All right, my lord, then do it.
No, it's not my job.
What?
That's your job.
I don't know. It sounds like you're kind of interfering our jobs by giving your personal opinion.
I don't recall asking your opinion.
Yes, you did.
So who was to be this final mark?
My lord, why are you ignoring this?
Go ahead, Inspector Lestrade. Read the name for the court. The name that's written alongside the entry that mentions the grouse on 31st of October. How do you read this then?
Reading's still not her strong suit.
That ain't the problem, all right, Otto.
Stop reading my mind. I know it's, I guess, not my fault anymore, but still, stop.
It's a funny name. It's a funny name. It ain't English. It's hard to read.
So it's someone from overseas?
Let me have a bash at it. Se-ish Iro, is it? Yeah. Seishiro. Jig Ok-yu. Maybe?
What?
It can't be. Seshiro Jigoku? That was my thoughts? Voice mod broke?
Oh no! Mr. Naheda, you've gotten quiet.
Ah, there we go. Okay, I can speak now. Seshiro Goku. Awesome. But that's Judge Jigoku.
Seishiro Jigoku. Certainly not an English name, you're right.
Objection! But that can't be right. I know Judge Jigoku, and I saw him the day before yesterday, here in London. So I know for a fact that the man hasn't been assassinated.
As I said, the Reaper failed.
Oh.
Oh,
Gregson missed his chance to kill his mark and return to British shores. But the Reaper wouldn't tolerate the mistake. So he killed the inspector. Personally. The Reaper, of course, being the accused. Baroque Van Zeeks!
it's an undeniably logical argument.
Of course you'd say that, Strongheart. You want Van Zeeks to be guilty.
Kazuma, you planned for this trial to go this way all along, didn't you?
Hold it!
Oh.
My leg! Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice whilst I stand accused of murder.
Lord Van Zeeks.
The accused has no right to speak uninvited in court. You will return to the dock.
I mean, a lot of accusers that just spoke uninvited in the court. Let him have this.
I say nothing of whether or not I'm the Reaper. That's the task of this court to decide.
But there is one thing I can say unequivocally. That girl is no detective.
Bruh.
What? That's right, I ain't. I'm an inspector.
Repeating rumors heard around the yard. Reading entries from a book of unconfirmed origin. That's not testimony. It's practically a script. No doubt the rest of this trial will go exactly as you've clearly planned.
Oh. I'm scared now. I'm scared now.
Your hatred of me is understandable. In your mind, I'm sure I am the Reaper who sent your father to the gallows all those years ago. But you're in danger of becoming a far more sinister Reaper yourself. By attempting to have me condemned with this feeble excuse for a testimony. What did you say?
Oh no.
Miss Naruhodo, this is our chance!
Alright, everybody shush! My lord, the defense request. Oh, I spit everywhere. The defense requests that the defendant be allowed to speak. He may be privy to important information relating to the testimony just given by the witness. My lord, what are you doing with that staff? And looking at me with judgmental eyes. My lord?
Oh, Naruhodo. You would have made a great vessel, me boy.
Vessel? What do you mean?
Bang! Very well. I'll make an exception and grant the request.
And then Naruhodo just dies.
The defendant may remain in the witness stand for the cross-examination.
Then allow me to toast the court's impartiality.
Don't raise your glass in my direction, sir. Counsel for the defense, begin the cross-examination immediately.
Oh! Okay. At once, my lord!
Cross-examination, part 2.
Reaper's notebook.
Hold it! In other words, it shows that Gregson was basically acting as the Reaper.
No, you and all! Not you and all! That's the only explanation, is it? That ain't the only explanation, is it?
Hi, I'm here too.
He could have been investigating the rape in secret! And that notebook said what he found out!
If I may.
Okay.
When originally people began referring to me as the Reaper, I didn't object. I believe that the power to intimidate London's criminal classes into compliance with the law to be beneficial.
While you carried out your own investigations into the true identity of the Reaper, didn't you?
Yes, and those investigations proved conclusively that Gregson was one arm of the Reaper.
One arm? What are you on about?
The Reaper's victims were all extremely shrewd criminals at the top of their game.
Yeah.
Stop staring at me!
Like who?
There's simply no way one person could have taken them on alone. The Reaper is an organization.
I said stop!
With you at its head? I had spies at the yard keeping me abreast of Gregson's movements, letting me know when he was elsewhere.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
So I'd been able to check the most recent entry in his book. I knew the location.
You knew it said grouse?
Believing it to be a reference to the Gentleman's Club, I went there on the day in question to investigate, alone.
Ah, so that explains why several members of the club claim to have seen you there. And you have not told us for some reason.
But of course, the inspector was not there. Because at the time, he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of Canada. as shown by the passport in the victim's metal trunk. Very well then. Back to your testimony about the contents of this notebook.
Fine.
Is something wrong, Miss Naruhodo? You seem a little shocked by something a moment ago, as well as you keep staring at both Gina and Vantiques, weirdly.
Oh, no, it's all right.
I'm overthinking this, aren't I?
Oh, that... Names of victims, dates, places, and stuff. What in particular?
Well, besides the victims' names, this other name kept cropping up.
What other name was that?
It's the one I told you yesterday. The same name, written over and over again.
All right, you mean Asashin?
Yeah, that's the one. She's a friend of yours or something, isn't she?
No, she's
Best
the one that
friend.
started this entire thing. Were you even listening yesterday?
Asashin, the assassin.
Yeah, so yeah, we both know that, Gina. Come on!
What? Like a killer, you mean?
Vantiques, is she like a killer? You know, an
Yes.
assassin? Yeah, Gina, what do you think?
Gregson was a tactician, the one who came up with a plan of attack. He investigated the marks thoroughly, finding out when they would be vulnerable and who to use to get at them.
But the person actually executing his plans was someone else, you're saying? If that's true, then the Reaper does indeed start to sound like an organized group of vigilantes.
Oh, then perhaps what it said on the passport document. There. Permission for the applicant and one additional person to travel. Could that additional person have been...
Clearly the assassin who was Clearly the assassin who was meant to take Seshiro Jigoku's life.
I believed in you, Cosmo. Ow, my hand! Gina, can you confirm that? Against the final entry that listed Grouse and Jigoku. One name was written.
Well, that's the only entry that didn't have a name next to it, as it happens.
What?
I don't believe it.
It just had like a question mark or something there, I think.
In other words, Gregson himself didn't know the identity of the assassin in that case.
But Gregson was the one making the plans, was he not?
Oh, how infuriating!
A nameless assassin?
Well, yeah, because she's dead, but another thing, it's because they didn't. He just meant to put it with Gina, so... Like, actually, were these guys, like, all listening to Gregson's plans? He wanted to take Gina to Canada so that she could be saved
He
from the
wanted to
Reaper's
take her to
thing.
Disney World.
Wanted to take her to Disney in Canada, in Dunkirk, Canada.
Dunkirk? What?
Dunkirk,
Whoa.
Canada.
Don't say Dunkirk.
Why?
That is so close to the other word.
Oh, okay. And you're saying that the mark listed was says I can do this.
Inosuke!
No, I can do this, please. I'm sorry. It's hard to mix Japanese and English sometimes. I'm sorry. I might be an English major, which I may have just embarrassed myself for this whole code by admitting I was an English major. But listen, it's hard to code switch. Anyways, the mark listed was his Seshiro Jigoku.
Jigoku.
Seshiro Jigoku. Thank you, Kazuma.
That's what it said. Funny name if you ask me. And I thought your name was odd.
So pleased to have lost my crown there.
Mr. Jigoku is the presiding judge of Japan's Supreme Court of Judicature.
Cosmo, are you okay?
I'm stumbling over my sentence, not a name.
I mean, still.
It seems everyone is under my effect. I remember the man. He came to our country as a visiting student 16 years ago.
Studying international law and diplomacy under your tutelage, Lord Strongheart.
Stop staring at me.
That bearded young fellow was a very able man, I must say.
So Lord Strongheart was Judge Jigoku's mentor.
If I'm not mistaken, he returned to Japan 10 years ago now.
10 years ago. After that fateful case!
The fateful case!
Precisely, yes, that one. In the aftermath of the Professor case, his
Repatriation.
I thought that said reparation. His repatriation was organized immediately. It's a mystery why such a man would be listed in the inspector's notebook.
I didn't think it was possible, but the mood in air's got even worse now. Maybe I'll just keep talking.
What's staring at me?
Hold it, then who do I stare at? Gina or Lord Van Zeeks? What do I stare at? Anyways, what do you mean, a criminal? Judge Jigoku is no criminal, he's a judge.
But don't ask me, I know nothing about it.
Oh, do you remember what Father told us? That Judge Jigoku did once appear in court here in Britain. It was related to the Professor case, I'm sure.
Oh, right, yeah, of course, you're right. I forgot about that.
The what case?
So convenient.
Seishiro was trying to mitigate Genshin's guilt, so he took to the stand to testify. But he got a little carried away and actually managed to break the witness stand. I don't know how he did that. That was weird. He also said some contemptuous words about the British Empire, for which he was charged. I don't know why he did that. I don't know.
It was a pitiful situation, yes. I'd forgotten all about it, but I prosecuted that trial too as it happens.
You did?
It was considered to be an adjunct to the professor proceedings, you see.
An adjunct?
But he was acquitted after being told to make reparation for the damage caused to the stand.
See, that says reparation.
And there you have it. Have what? Surely the accused hasn't forgotten his own rule. That there's no saving anyone who faces the Reaper in court, guilty or innocent alike.
It's called going abroad. No! Are you suggesting that the reason Judge Jigoku was targeted for assassination is literally because he returned and for this whole thing? So tell me, how on earth were they supposed to know when he would be back? That's... stupid!
The man was sent back to Japan immediately after that trial. The Reaper had no time to do his work. But then, 10 years later, the mark returns to Britain once more. Perhaps now you start to see just how vindictive the Reaper is.
Alright, come on, that's absurd. To take someone's life for that?
Isn't the whole premise of the Reaper absurd, killing those who have been found innocent?
Isn't the whole premises of killing people absurd? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Clearly the rules by which the man operates are beyond a sane person's comprehension.
What? What about killing people entirely? What?
Objection! Objection! Right, I just had about enough of this!
Gina?
All this nonsense about the boss plan to kill people. It's cobblers! Come on, Odell!
Yes? What? Stop staring at me.
You say nothing.
Why are you staring at me? Stop staring at me.
I've got a good reason for it.
Stop staring at me. So, yeah, I can't stare at you, but you can stare at me. Why?
Why ain't you saying nothing?
I mean, I am saying things.
Why ain't you yelling out objection or something?
What?
You've got to find a flaw. You do usually. Someone's lying there, no question. You got to work out who it is. Please, for the boss.
That outburst was an insult to the court and to your own testimony. I might have known that a common pickpocket from the back slums couldn't make a detective.
Yeah, see, this is the problem. That's the problem. No, now when you said that we pick up a common pickpocket from the black sub to make a detective. The assumptions.
When that trial is over, you will forfeit your warrant card, Miss Lestrade. Is that clear?
I thought it was the Lord here! It flies every bleeding place to look at this world, isn't it? Well, I've had enough!
Gina!
So have I. After that little speech of Gina's, I've made up my mind.
To do what, Mr. Naruhodo?
There was one point in this cross-examination when something that was said just didn't sit right with me. One statement that seemed odd.
Oh! Do you mean...
I'm not going to let Gina's plea for help fall on deaf ears.
Why not?
Come on, Otto! Help! You gotta find a flaw somewhere!
Hold it! But do I have to, though?
Hold it! You're lying to me, Gina.
Gina, you're lying!
Gina!
Gina, objection! There is no flaw because I'm a defense attorney. That last statement exhibits a fundamental inconsistency.
Oh, you're right. I'm gonna have to throw her in jail.
Yeah, obviously. Anyways.
Blah.
Okay, there was a note about... Nobody does
Final
have stuff.
statements.
Okay, then. Oh, just the final one?
Yeah,
Oh.
press it.
Okay, hold it. I want to thank you, Gina. You helped me find my resolve. I swear. Trust me, I didn't mean to put the name of the game. Sorry.
You!
What do you mean?
You're lying to me.
Amongst everything we've heard during this cross-examination, there's one thing that defies explanation. One inconsistency.
What? What? Wait, what? An inconsistency?
Yeah, basically means it just doesn't make
What?
sense.
What?
Really, Otto?
I don't quite know what it means yet, but...
Yes, there's an inconsistency in something that was said by... I don't...
Me. By Sherlock Holmes.
By Holmes!
Okay, I'll just lay out the logic here. During this entire cross-examination, there was a statement from somebody that shows that they knew more than they should have, and it was not by Gina.
Ah, yes, Vigil.
Take that! Thank you.
Oh.
By you, Cosima Sogi.
Me?
Is this some attempt at filibustering, counsel?
I have no idea what that means, my lord.
Prosecutor Sogi has given no testimony.
What are you suggesting I said that was inconsistent?
You let
Your
something
life.
slip that you shouldn't have. When I present the relevant piece of evidence, I imagine you'll realize what you've done.
Very well then, counsel, go ahead. What evidence reveals this alleged inconsistency in something Prosecutor Asogi has said? Do not use the rabbit, I swear to the non-existent god.
Take that! Sorry, my lord. I'll rewind time.
I'll never forget that.
Let's see. He talked about.
There's no amount of time powers
Take
you could
that.
have to stop
No?
this. I remember what you did.
Wait, is the screen stuck on the passport? What?
No. Here's another
What you did.
here's another little bit of logic here. It's thanks to Gina that this particular piece of evidence was hidden. Actually, maybe not Gina, but whatever.
Take that. Oh, there we go. This is a trunk that belonged to Inspector Gregson.
Inspector Grayson. A metal construction, is it? It's certainly very heavy. What's this? Ooh, blood. And a relatively fresh one, too.
My lord?
What? You mean that ain't grease from all the boss's fish and chips?
No.
Fresh blood on the inspector's trunk. That suggests that the victim was traveling with that luggage when he was killed.
That can't be. There was no mention of any trunk in Scotland Yard's report.
Yes, there's a reason for that. Immediately after the inspector's body was discovered, one of the street peddlers made off with the trunk. No, it's not Gina. Hoping to sell it. No, it's not Gina.
But I found it! Me, with me notes for trouble!
Which means that nobody should have known anything about the trunk. Unless, of course, we're talking about somebody who was present when the victim was killed. Cosima. Yet, during the cross-examination of the witness just now, you said this, Cosima.
Because at the time, he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of Canada. As shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk.
Oh. So the question is, how did you know about the inspector's trunk?
We know the man went on a trip to France. Or to Canada,
What?
rather.
Where?
Where else would he have put his passports?
Objection! That's not flying. You knew it was a metal trunk. Answer me honestly, Cosima. Don't lie to me like everyone else in Britain has. On 31st of October, where exactly were you? Please, I'm your best friend. Come on.
At the port of Dunkirk, on board the SS Grouse.
In Canada?
Yes.
Is that the answer you're looking for, Ryunosuke?
Cosima! What did you... I hadn't considered the possibility before, but if Cosima was there on the ship, then it can only have been for one purpose. Oh no, Mr. Naruhodo! Surely you don't think...
Come on, Ryunosuke. You know the rules. The only thing that really talks in the courtroom is hard evidence. As I understand it, Inspector Gregson always took that case with him when he traveled. So as it stands, you've proved nothing.
Cosima. No. Are you challenging me to prove it? Beyond all reasonable doubt? That you were oh my gosh. That you were there that day. In the same place as the inspector?
He was there? With Gregson?
There's a clue that you've overlooked. A secret that trunk can tell us.
I can't be sure at this point. I'll need to verify, and actually, I really don't know what I'm talking about, but I have a nasty feeling that I'm going to be right.
Cosima.
The accusation being made is deeply distant. But nevertheless, we must test it. The defense will identify for the court where in the trunk this alleged clue is to be found.
Cosima, this is your last chance.
Last chance.
Your last
me
chance to tell me the
boy.
truth.
Where's the evidence that ties Prosecutor Asogi to Inspector Gregson? I know what it is.
Cosima.
I know what it
I'm
is.
giving you...
Hold it! You're not looking for that. You're looking for the other one.
Yeah, it's that one. Click it.
Wait, no.
Click it to open it.
It's this, right?
There's
No.
a gash and then there's a metal fragment. If you choose a
Yes.
gash, you'll get penalized.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, 9. Why didn't you, know that?
I don't know. So, Cosima, one last chance. You gonna tell me the truth?
Present it.
Cosima, please, come on, man. You're my best
Do
friend.
it, you won't.
Don't make me
Do it, you
Don't
won't.
make me do
Do it, you won't.
Don't make me do this. Cosima, don't make me do
You
this.
know you want to.
Cosima.
Dan, hi. How's it going, Dan?
It's going
Hi,
okay. How's it
Dan.
going with you?
He's gone.
Cosima.
Present it!
Do it.
Got it!
Got it.
There's a small piece of metal lodged in the wall of the trunk here, like the tip of a blade.
Wait, is that a new line?
Yeah,
Voice line? Got
Yep.
it!
got it.
Got it.
A blade?
A blood.
Dan, you want to take Gina?
Do you want me to take Gina?
Do
I
it.
can take anyone you want me to take.
We want you to have a role.
Yeah.
Gina.
You want me to have a role.
We
That
want
is
you
correct,
to have
yes.
roll.
We
Here's a
want you
spring
to
roll.
rock and roll.
Cosima, slung around your waist as ever today, is the steamed blade Karuma.
Karuma.
Of course it is.
Won't you draw it? Here in this courtroom? For all to see.
Will you cut me down right here now?
Would you
Right
stab
now.
me in my lung like I threatened to Holmes?
Yeah.
Exercise caution, my learned friend. That man is the son of London's most notorious killer.
Bailiff. Watch Prosecutor Sogi like a hawk.
Okay, wait. Okay, hold up. Stop. I was kidding about the stabbing thing for one. Two, he's not a murderer. Well, I would hope he's not a
Mr.
murderer.
Never
Cosmo, I
heard
really hope
He
you're not
might be a murderer.
Now,
Cosmo,
Hodo, me
you are-
boy, I don't think you understand the gravity of the situation.
I think you're gonna die, but it's for a
Stop.
good cause. We'll see him as a murderer.
Stop. It's just my mind.
If he's not a murderer, we'll turn him into one.
It's nothing. It's nothing.
What's wrong,
Cosmo.
me boy?
Cosmo.
That won't be necessary.
Bro,
It's
moment.
broken! Oh
No, it always looks like that.
no! The tip is broken.
How dare you?
If the fragment of metal from the trunk fits together with the end of the sword, the question of who was there with Inspector Gregson will be answered. Agreed, Cosmo Sogi.
Expertly done, Rinosuke. That's a point to you, and well deserved.
Do you mean to tell the court, Prosecutor Asogi?
Yes. On 31st of October, I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk in order to carry out a mission.
So the additional person authorized to travel.
Was me.
And the mission was?
The assassination of the Mark.
What?
Oh, hell yeah.
Deadass?
What?
Deadass?
You mean you're the killer whose name was omitted from this notebook? You were following the Reaper's orders to dispatch Judge Shigoku?
Let me make one thing perfectly clear.
Reflect.
I have killed no one.
Explain.
That's what a murderer would say.
I accepted the assassination mission, yes, and I accompanied Gregson to Dunkirk.
You sound
But I never had any intention of carrying out the plan.
sus.
You were never going to do it.
We can believe Cosmo-sama. I'm sure. After all, Judge Jigoku arrived safely in London the following day.
On the 31st, I boarded a train from London with Inspector Gregson. We traveled to Dover, from where we crossed the channel to Dunkirk. Then we boarded the SS Grouse and made for the cabin deck, as indicated in the plan.
You went to Judge Jigoku's cabin?
Exactly. He wasn't there, though. We decided to wait, but...
Well, you've already told us you had no intention of going through with it anyway.
I didn't come to Great Britain to take anyone's life. So I let Gregson disembark the ship. I spent that night at a boarding house in the town and returned to England the following morning.
A boarding house? In Dunkirk?
My signature will be in the register book. It would be simple enough to verify.
Then what became of Jigoku?
Gregson was no assassin, so the mark was spared. I'm sure it's easy enough to imagine what happened after that. Gregson returned to England as well, having failed to complete the mission. He met with the Reaper. He met with the Reaper in that room on Fresno Street to report the failure, causing the infuriated mastermind to pull the trigger and end his wretched agent's life. That's the real truth behind Inspector Gregson's murder. Objection! Ugh. But if you did nothing as you claim, how did the tip of your sword come to be lodged in the inspector's trunk? I don't need to answer that.
I think
Cosmo, I think you do! I literally think you do!
I think you need to clear your name
Cosmo,
first,
if you're claiming you didn't kill him, kill anybody, you gotta prove why that tip of your sword is literally in a box with his blood on it! Cosmo,
This is why you're not a
please.
prosecutor.
Cosmo, please!
I don't think you realize prosecutors get privileges here that you're not aware of. We don't need to prove anything.
Am I still your best friend?
I'll answer for him on his behalf. No.
I have my reasons.
Cosmo, why don't you tell me? Why? I tell you everything! And now when it comes to you to me, you tell me nothing! So was everything you said yesterday a lie too?
Oh, yes.
Cricket. Cricket.
It wasn't.
Ah, yes, the death of friendship.
The victim was killed by a gunshot. The small fragment of a Japanese blade isn't relevant to the case. And accordingly, I choose to exercise my right to remain silent on that matter.
Cosmo!
This isn't America. Be that as it may, the court will sequester the sword as evidence.
As you wish, my lord.
Great sword Kuruma has been entered into the court record, sadly.
Okay.
That's
Must
a
take-
cool gavel.
We must take immediate action now.
No, I'm sad.
Right now.
No.
Right now.
Karuma.
Right now.
Such a thing of beauty. I want to gaze on it for hours.
You've gazed at it for years.
I did, actually. The tip of the great sword. Broken. It's such a shame. It's been so meticulously cared for over the years. I can almost hear Karuma's sobs.
Haruma must have really taken a swing for
Kazuma.
that to happen.
Kazuma! Kazuma must have taken a swing for that to really
same
happen.
thing.
I'll be a brief moment.
I guess that makes me a Sogi now.
There you go, Dan. And I'm Sherlock Holmes.
Oh,
Damn it. Damn it, he's back.
I was a Sogi in spirit for 2 seconds.
For 2 seconds. to verify whether Seishiro Jigoku remains unharmed.
What? Remains unharmed?
Yeah.
I agree. That should be our first priority.
Yeah.
It's recently come to my attention that he hasn't been seen since yesterday.
How did you...
When a foreign dignitary invited to Great Britain goes missing for 24 hours. It's only natural that the question of his safety shouldn't arise.
You don't mean to say that you think Judge Jigoku may have been killed?
The Reaper has more than one assassin at his disposal. And he has the power and influence to give orders from the inside of a prison cell. Isn't that right, Lord Van Zeeks?
If I were truly the Reaper, I'd be able to tell you.
Bang. Order. Order in the court. Order. We will take an emergency recess for 30 minutes.
Now? I kind of
Guests of the symposium have been told to maintain regular contact with the organizer's office. If the man can't be located within half an hour, we will have to assume the worst.
Oh no! Not Judge Jigoku!
Not one would want to kill a harmless Japanese man who'd only just arrived in the country.
Not one.
Except, that is, for the Reaper wanting to finish off a mark that slipped through the net 10 years ago.
I would have to agree. Mr. Naruhodo, for the defense's sake.
My lord!
I sincerely hope we are successful, my boy. If we're unable to confirm Mr. Jigoku's healthy existence in the next 30 minutes, you will face grave difficulties.
Me? Why?
Boy.
What did I do?
Me boy.
What did I do?
Court is adjourned for 30 minutes.
I think you should know, defense. If something goes wrong, it's your fault.
Why is it my fault? Why is it
You-
always my fault?
Have you learned nothing? It's the second game.
Kazuma-sama, the Reaper's assassin. I feel as though I'm in a nightmare.
I can hardly believe it either. But on the other hand, Ozma isn't in the habit of making up stories.
Yeah, that wacky Kazuma.
I have such a terrible sense of foreboding. If something awful has happened to Judge Jigoku, then I feel as though things will only spiral further and further out of control.
I felt it from the moment I stepped into the courthouse this morning. That strange sensation that we were kept careering towards a foregone conclusion.
Well, in the worst case, we might only have 30 minutes left. Unfortunately, though, I don't think there's anything we could do but wait now. We're out of options.
Actually, there may be one last hand we could play. Or rather, one last year.
Of course! But the little Mr. Holmes doll that Iris gave us.
If for some reason you completely run out of options in the trial today, then just pull this little Holmes' ears as hard as you possibly can.
Perhaps now is the time?
Do it.
What should I do? Pull Harley's ears or not?
We could leave it. I don't want to rip it. But
What if? Oh.
here goes then. I'm going to do it.
Good luck, Miss Naruhodo.
No looking back. He...
Ow!
That scream sounded like Mr. Holmes.
Mr. Holmes? Where are you?
Here, my dear fellow, here!
It's the felt doll talking.
Pull the ears again, Miss Naruhodo, as hard as you can.
All right then. I'll put all my strength into it. Heave!
Ow! Please, my dear fellows, you don't need to pull my ear off!
Oh. Well, I gotta do the thing. What option was that?
I use 8-bit.
Got it.
There you go.
Any specific options?
There you go. That's perfect.
That sounds good enough.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Mr. Holmes, where are you?
Myself and my trusty partner are presently in the first-class cabin area of the SS Grouse.
The SS Grouse?
She left Dover last night after the final pieces of cargo were loaded. We are currently docked at Dunkirk, but due to be underway again in half an hour.
Since when were
You've taken a ship to Canada?
Please, even with my athletic prowess, I would struggle to jump the Straits of Dover.
or the Atlantic Ocean?
The Atlantic Ocean, yes.
Over the Atlantic Ocean.
After we left Baker Street last night, we hurried a cab to the station and by the train to the port. In order to board this vessel in time.
So, you mean you'd already worked it out? That the steamship was where everything really took place?
Mr. Naruhodo, pray, what is my name?
Sherlock Holmes. World famous great detective. And someone I don't even know. I don't know.
Recited to perfection. Well done.
You're a genius, Mr. Holmes. That's the only word for it.
Mr. Sato, gently with this genius's ear, please.
Oh my! I'm ever so sorry.
Danny!
Daniel!
What am I going for a specific voice?
Miko Toba.
Oh, the man.
Yeah, do it.
If I may, Mr. Holmes.
Ah, there you are, Miko Toba.
You may remember that it was in fact I, Omni-Man, who made the connection to the SS Grouse. At Scotland yesterday, when we examined that notebook and I recalled my steamship ticket.
Scotland? You mean Scotland Yard? But of course it was, my dear fellow. And not once did I controvert that fact. I merely had our court-bound companions out to my name.
By the way, Dan, just
Yeah, what's up?
just for reference, Mikotoba is actually the Watson to the Sherlock.
Okay. So?
Yeah, that's it. That's all.
All right, thank you, boys, from the sky. Yes, you did, didn't you?
We've just entered a recess. The trial resumes in 30 minutes from now.
Stop talking with your mouth full, Mark.
And if we're unable to present any new leads then, I'm afraid to say.
Do not fret, please. It's for precisely that purpose that my partner and I have made this journey. I have no doubt we shall have welcome news for you within the half hour.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. That would be wonderful. You actually do care.
Until later, then.
Please actually care, please. You'll be hearing us from us if you're not in touch first.
I shan't be hearing anything if you keep talking my ear in that mindless fashion.
And whatever was the idea behind making a receiver operate in that way in the first place, Mark? I mean, Mr. Holmes.
Why the deuce would I know? It's Iris' invention, not mine.
Oh snap! We are doing an investigation thing.
Finally.
Whilst I know how much you enjoy being the hero of the hour, Mr. Holmes, we have but half that now, before the grouse puts to sea again. If we don't conclude our investigations rapidly, we shall find ourselves in Naples before long.
There are times, Miko Toba, when you make a surprising amount of sense. So, let us begin.
I'll take that as a compliment.
First, no, that's him.
First class cabin number 2. Yes, this is the one. But I don't believe an investigation of the cabin is going to be plain sailing. I don't have a voice changer, so imagine that I'm doing that weird voice effect. That crewman standing in front of the door is an angry-looking fellow.
Imagine me thinking to myself.
Mega.
Oh, and why are you loitering here? Who are you?
My dear fellow, do you not recognize a world-famous great detective when you see one? The question really ought to be, who are you?
Oh.
Do you not recognize world-traveling great sailor Chishkin Stroganoff when you see...
Chicken.
Chicken. Oh, chicken. Chishkin. Okay, I understand now.
Oh, he
I
has
understand
Holmes
the
on his
reference.
Psst, psst. Hey, one
Great
of you.
detective. I don't think so.
Hey,
What's up?
Hey, one
What's
of you.
up?
Maybe slide the voice changer my way, that I can be funny and quirky.
Yeah.
Do you see that, Mikotoba?
What a voice mod.
He has the energy of a
It would
Viltrumite.
appear that this man is a devoted follower of mine, even though he misspelled my name so obviously.
Now, goodness me, is that a tattoo that says Jones? He did misspell your name.
Why do they keep doing
I must
that?
say, while such adoration is flattering naturally, it does leave me a little cold.
What are you talking about? Leave now.
How distressing! My lord devotee knows me only by my mistaken name and not by appearance. And yet, I already know a great deal about you, sir.
Oh.
You have a brother, I believe. Like yourself, he's a shipman. Currently traveling the world aboard a Russian steamship, in fact.
How could you know this?
Elementary, my dear Mikotoba. I said
sure
the line.
it was.
Did you see that? I said the line.
You said the line, except you said Mikotoba and not Watson. Therefore, I don't think it was a very
But
good
you're
line.
Watson. That's one of your names, isn't it?
It's one of my many names, Mark. Yes, Mr. Holmes.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what is happening.
Hey, surely I said the line. Do you want me to say it again? 3 days ago, I was bound for London aboard this ship, you see.
I don't understand.
We're looking for one of my fellow passengers, a man by the name of Jigoku.
There is no one with his name on board. No.
But we know that he purchased a
No.
ticket for passage.
Yeah. Oh. You mean Eastern man. He left ship 2 hours ago. Here at Dunkirk, he said something about the emergency, I think.
What? Are you sure? So Saichiro's realized that we're after him, has he? Where's my voice changer that I asked for?
Voice
His
mod.
cabinet's the one behind you. We should like to investigate, please.
I'll get it. No, I have orders not to let even mouse inside.
Mikotoba,
mice.
be a good man and draw the sailor's attention away, would you?
No.
Make up some excuse so that he leaves the area.
Yeah. No. Doesn't great detective see that even sailors have ears, both left and right?
I'm surprised you have a left ear then, because the plan is ruined.
And you have only yourself to blame, I'm afraid, Mr. Holmes.
Dan, I said it to you.
Thank you.
Yes. Forget it, cabin doors locked. Even if I'm not here, you cannot get inside.
Mikotoba, I'm sure you haven't forgotten my special talent, have you?
Opening any lock? Mr. Holmes, of course! You'll
Within a
pick
mere
the lock.
5 seconds. So you'd be so kind as to afford me the requisite time, old friend, in your typically accommodating manner?
How could I refuse such a typically unappealing request, old friend? Of course. So I need to distract that burly sailor for 5 seconds, do I?
Throw that mousetrap at him.
Good man. So, the game is afoot.
Real quick, put your cursor on him. I got this. What was his name again? What was his name again?
Chicken.
Stroganoff.
Chicken stroganoff.
Chicken Stroganoff. Mr. Stroganoff.
Oh, duh.
You'll let us through that door, right?
No.
Oh, this is bad news. I need to do what I was meant to do. Be who I was meant to be.
You could be a person outside door.
Person outside. You know, I don't want to do it actually. I was gonna do an Omni-Man speech, but that's actually a really long speech.
Oh,
I was gonna do the you couldn't know the truth, Mark. Not until you had your powers.
I do not watch Netflix show.
You couldn't know the truth, Stroganoff. Not until you
speech
had your
means nothing.
powers. Not until I was sure.
Mikotoba! We
Y-
have
yes.
30 minutes. We have less than 30 minutes, in fact.
Oh, we have 29 minutes?
Yes, not enough.
We have 29 minutes.
Maybe that mousetrap will be useful. We as Viltrumites train with them often.
Do not touch trap.
This must be a mousetrap, I think. The one next to Stroganov's foot.
No.
Perhaps I could distract the crewman's attention with this somehow.
Try it. Try the man.
Choo-choo!
That sounds like big mouse and trap.
Choo-choo!
I will bring bucket of water later and put out of misery.
Oh my god! I don't like the sound of that.
In any case, my dear fellow, that was quite unconvincing. Only Japanese mice make a chew sound.
That's racist.
Is that what you meant, Mr. Holmes?
Do you want to know the sound Russian mice make?
Do it. Do it.
Russian mouse goes.
Oh, really, Mr. Holmes? And pray tell, what sound do Russian mice make? Make it do a thing.
PP, naturally. Though also quite unconvincing, I readily admit.
No, they go.
So go ahead, Mikotoba. Scream like a banshee this time.
No, thank you. I'm sure I can come up with an alternate solution. Ah, the switch for the electrical lights. I still don't have my voice mod because I have to sign in. Perhaps if I were to turn off the lights, the crewman wouldn't be able to see what we were doing. But then neither would Holmes.
What is happening? Where is light?
Now, Holmes, now!
Huh. Nobody there.
That was a close shave.
What a knack you have, stumbling so violently in an apparently empty corridor.
Do be quiet, Holmes. I shall have to think of another approach. One that doesn't involve genocide of the human species, but we'll keep that as a plan Z for now. This would appear to be an alarm bell. All hell would break loose if that thing were to ring. The whole crew would know about it.
Yeah!
Okay. Here goes then. Pardon me in advance.
Oh, Dio, what are you doing? If we were at sea, that would be a very bad problem.
What is going on there? Seaman Stroganoff, report at once!
Oh. Sorry, sir, nothing to report. It was stupid trick. No, not by me. By world famous. No, as I told you.
Now, Mr. Holmes, now!
Done!
Not even 5 seconds, eh? You've improved, Mark. Truly,
Don't
as
just
expected.
stand there gulping out my brilliance, Mikotoba. In we go!
Oh, yes. By the way, one of my other names, you mentioned it earlier, I also go by Nolan these days. I think you can use that name.
I also go by Nolan North now.
3rd November, SS Grouse, first class cabin number 2.
Good gracious.
Good gravy.
It would appear that the occupants of this cabin did indeed disembark rather hurriedly.
Those clothes on the floor there, they're Saishiro's, without question.
Well, it seems we are just a little too late.
Yes,
Mikotoba.
by about 2 hours.
Still, once we're here, we should investigate thoroughly. There may be well 2 hours' worth of clues to find in here.
Wait a second. Do you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, hello, hi.
Okay, yeah, I was downloading voice mod, and it was like fiddling with my drivers for 2 seconds, so I was cutting in and out of reality.
Oh.
Am I alive? Am I home?
Guys, I don't
What year is it?
Feel so good.
What year is it?
Oh, what's... the
But
year
that
is
burly
19...
crew-
Ah!
Oh God.
But that
I can
burly
hear-
crewman may return at any moment, Mr.
I can
Holmes.
hear his voice.
Indeed, he may. Which makes this all the more thrilling. That's a very sizable trunk indeed.
Saichiro is partial to all things large.
And
And
a
a
rather
rather
clumsy fellow if he even failed to notice he'd left that behind.
Sorry, I did not know that was not my line. Perhaps he left it on purpose. It's lighter than you might think, but it's still a hindrance, even to a Viltrumite like myself.
Pity. It's locked, so we can't look inside.
Lockpick.
Surely 5 seconds from now, the situation will be quite different, though.
Sadly not. It has a 7-digit combination lock. And I'm not in a morose enough mood to work through all the combinations at present.
I like the music.
This is pretty good music. There's a speaking tube here, Mr. Holmes. Look, though it's been stoppered with some cloth.
Stoppered.
So the voices of the crewmen on the bridge aren't an annoyance, I suppose.
Or some.
Or indeed so that the voices in this cabin aren't heard elsewhere.
Oh. Could something have happened here that was for no one else's ears, do you think?
Either that, or it could be to prevent snakes from entering.
That's really become a favorite case of yours, hasn't it, Mr. Holmes?
My new favorite thing.
That's a substantial heap of clothes on the floor. An overcoat, shirts, a dressing gown.
Momohiki work trousers, a Tenzin robe, a haramaki waistband. Clearly the clothing of a Japanese man.
And clearly Japanese men are unaccustomed to the culture of the wardrobe.
Hey, wait, Uji, did I say that right? I said haramaki?
Yes.
Alright, Pog.
Wait, what's
Yeah.
that? Hachi? Pull up.
Haramaki.
Haramaki, yeah.
Alright, cool,
Haramaki.
I got it right.
Haramaki.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'm learning.
Kazuma's hairband thing, whatchamacallit, is
Bandana.
Hachimaki. So,
I'm learning.
He's learned it.
It looks to me as if they've been thrown in a heap like that in something of a hurry.
indeed, you could help yourself to a Japanese man's shirt, perhaps? I'm sure you made mention of packing them too few.
Are you suggesting I steal? Because I'm considering it. I'd very likely drown in one of Saishiro's shirts. No, I'll just buy any extras I need, I think. With your money, of course. The wall is a slightly different color just here. Do you see, Mr. Holmes?
Indeed. What you have observed arises when a frame that has been hanging for some time is removed. Perhaps your friend is an art thief.
Now there's a bold deduction worthy of a great detective, I'm sure.
He may very well be the elusive thief who's been plaguing Canada's galleries of late.
I think perhaps we should focus our attentions elsewhere, Mr. Holmes, don't you? Wait. This is my chance to try it out because it's open now.
Dude, it-
What's the thing you changed it to sound like you're
Cave,
thinking?
cave zero reverb.
Cave what reverb?
Zero reverb.
Yeah, like go to the cave and then just turn down the reverb.
Oh, here's reverb.
Oh, and make sure Discord has voice mod like connected to it.
Yeah.
Oh, how do I check that?
Voice
go
and
to
video
the settings. Yeah. And then select
Settings.
input device, microphone, and then it'll be the voice mod virtual thing.
Also, if the voice volume is down a little bit, turn it up to 100.
Okay. So I'm
On
sorry,
voice mods
repeat
and
that.
everything.
Where do I go to see if it's connected?
Voice and video.
User settings, voice and video, input device.
Okay, thank you. So, is it supposed to appear in the list here? Oh,
Yes.
voice mod virtual audio. Here we go.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one.
Hello?
Yes, you got it.
There he is.
There he is.
Do I sound like I'm thinking now?
Yes.
Maybe a little
Yeah.
up
Awesome.
for the reverb because it.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's this sound? Hello? Hello?
Oh,
Get
might
to-
want to turn off the background effects.
Yeah, you got background.
Background
Yeah,
noise.
how does this sound?
There we go, better.
That outline on the wall.
Also,
Yeah.
hold down your push to talk a little bit further, so a little bit more, so the reverb has a chance to, reverb.
I feel as though I might have spotted something of a similar shape and size elsewhere.
I don't think he's using push to talk.
I am
Yes.
just push to talk.
Wait, you are? Oh.
Yeah, yes, I am. Okay, how do I turn this off now?
You can either
Just press
click
clean.
the,
Press clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can set that to your favorites.
Okay, alright.
Yeah, it's easier.
Alright, thank you.
Yeah.
These are the rules of passage.
Rules of
Passengers
passage.
must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Additionally, there are severe punishments for stowing away in wardrobes and/or travel cases.
Ha!
I feel the rules have increased since I last read them. Probably just my imagination.
What about the fact that they're not straight on the wall? Doesn't that strike you, Mr. Holmes?
You may be right. Probably just your imagination, though. A trifle. And you know what I always say, Mikotoba? There
That's
is
no
nothing
one to
important
you.
about trifles.
What is that slinky sound? Does anyone else hear that slinky sound?
Mega's
Sounds
playing
like-
with a rubber band or something?
Yeah, it's Mega over there. He's
Yeah.
fiddling in the background. He's a child, like he's bored. Yeah, there he goes.
He's using the
It's-
slingshot from Roblox.
It's, it's probably just my imagination, but I think that might be slightly off.
What can you like?
Quite the exquisite glass, I must say. See here? How it's...
Is something wrong, Mr. Holmes? You suddenly trailed off.
Ice, Mikotoba. Ice! What opulence the first-class passengers enjoy! Chilled drinks!
Pardon?
Could it be that this steamship is equipped with an electrically refrigerated cold room, do you think?
Well, it is a luxury liner after all. It might beget some more investigation. They have enormous refrigerators for storing all sorts of lavish produce, as well as ice. On our voyage from Japan, we enjoyed culinary delights from all over the world.
Suddenly, Mikotoba, the sight of you is making my mouth water.
Oh!
What?
I just want you to know. I want you to know, Mr. Holmes, that I have a wife and I also have a son. His name is Mark. Are you okay with being another daddy? I haven't taken on the flavor of the food I ate, you know. According to the report I was given, Naruhodo was concealing himself in Asogi's wardrobe.
Indeed he was, and it was of a similar size to this one. Ah, you must climb inside yourself, my dear fellow.
What? Whatever for?
It was the sign of my first fateful meeting with Mr. Naruhodo. You can experience the moment for yourself now, complete with my dramatic rhetoric. Come along now, in you go. Let's only take a moment.
Really, Mr. Holmes? Surely you can just tell me what you said?
Well, I uttered some brilliant remark and opened the wardrobe to reveal the stowaway murderer.
Oh, thank God he stopped pushing me. Yeah, I think I'll just read about it in the adventures of Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Thank you very much.
The Adventures of Sherlock Bones.
This is the waste paper. Sorry. This is the waste
paper.
paper. I don't want to say waste paper. I just stuttered over myself. Gosh, don't make fun of me.
Stop!
No.
Stop!
This is the waste paper basket. Look, and there's still rubbish inside.
It says rubbish on the
Indeed.
ceiling.
Then let us pry. I've discovered recently I have a penchant for exploring the contents of others' waste paper baskets.
I'm sure you do. And I sincerely hope only for your work, of course, Mr. Holmes. Right? Only for your work, right?
Ah. Here we have a notice issued to passengers from 3 days ago.
It says
3 days ago. The
It
night
says
before
your
we arrived
day.
in London, then. When I was still aboard myself.
Evacuation drill notice, 31st October.
Hey, wait,
Oh, okay,
reading this?
all right, nope.
No.
Oh, okay.
Ah, yes. There was an evacuation drill. I remember now.
Okay, guys, wait. So after it went like down, like the note I was reading, like excavation drill or whatever. Oh, like okay, and then my Windows alert, like with antivirus popped up, being like, "So we scanned your computer." Thought you.
So we scanned your computer. We found a Trojan.
We need to evacuate.
Yeah,
your
we need to
computer.
evacuate your computer now.
For our safety and security, all first-class passengers were constantly under the watchful eye of the crew.
Turn the game console off right now.
Right it. Turn the game console off right now.
Right. Turn the game
Right
off.
now.
Right now.
Right now. So, it was a welcome relief to have some privacy for once.
The evacuation drill itinerary has been entered into the court records somehow.
Itinerary.
Duh. I kill you now. You're still here.
Ah, able seaman Stroganoff. Hello again.
Hello yourself.
I was beginning to think you'd never materialize.
Don't you make that at me. Hey, you're waiting for me.
Of course! I was expecting you to burst in with a hearty Russian profanity far sooner.
I was in trouble with Captain because of the trick you played me for.
All right. Poor innocent chicken.
It is all your fault. Ship is leaving port soon. Get off now.
Of course, we shall disembark presently, my dear fellow. But first, there is something that must be done.
What are you talking about? What are you talking
Why,
about?
naturally, the debunking of your deceit and the bearing of the truth.
Какой?
I'm afraid I see through your lies.
¿Por qué?
For one thing, Mr. Jigoku has not yet left his vessel at all. And for another, my dear Seaman Stroganov, you are guilty.
Oh. How can you?
Good gracious. Oh no.
Good gracious, Mr. Holmes. You mean you've worked it out?
You
all
both
of
have
it.
the same voice.
It's really been too long, hasn't it, old friend? 10 years, no less.
Ugh.
So, would you care to join me for a dance of my inimitable logic and reasoning?
Oh, please. Nothing would please me more.
What
Please.
These?
I want it. I want it.
What these? Oh.
We have but minutes until the vessel puts to sea. No games now.
Oh, we're here.
Let's do it.
Time is of the essence. Mr. Stroganov, allow me to remind you of your earlier claim. You told us that Jigoku left the ship some 2 hours ago.
Wait, so he said no games. So you work. Oh, so you were just kidding about all the stuff that you were. You actually knew what it was. We're gonna have a big talk when you get back. I assure you.
Duh. You have telepathic friend. You need to kill him. Duh, that is what I said.
Sadly, that was a rather clumsy lie. You see, there is something in this room that quite clearly contradicts it.
What? What?
Ah, Hey, hang on, my voice mod actually like killed itself.
Oh no.
You can hotkey
Like
the
it genuinely decided it didn't want to work for 2 seconds.
Oh no.
Good lord, good lord. Okay, am I back?
Yes.
Hello?
Okay, hello.
Oh.
Ah. Yes, of course.
I see you've noted it too, Mikotoba. Then please, do take the lead.
What's my freezing again?
What in this cabin shows the impossibility of Jigoku having disembarked 2 hours ago? Let's see what the last 3 years have done to your observational skills then, Mikotoba.
It's been 10 years since we last did this, Mr. Holmes. Not 3.
Why, of course it has! Quite! Now, all the clues are here in this cabin for your eyes to see.
Why does he have
But as I always say, you must not merely look, but observe. Observe, and the answers become clear. So, impress me.
I think I can manage that, Mr. Holmes.
Yeah, no.
No need to examine anything, just point and click.
Take that!
Oh.
Mikotoba, no games now were my words, were they not? And you will take this, Solia.
Come, Holmes.
What?
Where's
What
the
do
fun
I
in
do?
hiding that a little fooling around?
Yeah, 9.
Wait, hold up. You said my name? How do you know even I exist? I'm not even in this dimension.
The words just come to my mouth. Quit what you are!
That was a close shave. I'd better rethink that before I'm the fool here.
You know, if this was like a joke and everything, oh, well,
Jigoku didn't disembark 2 hours ago at all. That was a lie, wasn't it, Mr. Holmes?
Of course it was. I had hoped you would be quicker to point out why. Otherwise, the evidence itself may melt away before our very eyes.
all right, I can't save.
9. Get good.
Oh,
Perhaps you should have cleared away that glass, Seaman Stroganoff.
How curious that the ice shouldn't have melted despite it being abandoned 2 hours ago. It would appear that the man was here in this very cabin until moments before our arrival. With this well-chilled glass in hand.
Get your mind off the refreshments, Mr. Holmes. Honestly.
One might even conclude that somebody informed him of our boarding. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Stroganoff?
But why would Saishiro run from us?
Before we consider that question, allow me to confirm one small matter. Would I be correct in saying that these first-class cabins of the SS Grouse are the same ones in which you and Mr. Jigoku were accommodated on your voyage from Japan?
Ah, that's entirely right. They are. I was in the cabin next door. Saishiro was. Yes. 50 days in this very cabin during our voyage.
As I suspected, for you see, there are traces in this cabin of a dark secret that Mr. Jigoku had to hide.
What traces do you speak of, Mr. Holmes?
I know nothing but these. I don't know.
Ah, this is news to you, is it, Mr. Stroganoff?
Holmes, what exactly are you getting at?
As I said, there are traces in this cabin of some nefarious activity. Something that appears out of place, which I'm quite sure won't have escaped your notice.
Something out of place in here.
Yes.
That's the key to this, Mikotoba. The remnants of the dark deed that took place in here are being masked by something quite incongruous. I must say, I didn't foresee ever doing this dance of deduction with you again, Mikotoba.
hold on, I have to cough.
No, you are taking the penalties if you get it wrong.
No!
The penalties.
No!
Make the L.
No!
Plus L plus ratio.
No, quite. No, quite. Oh, sorry. My God, my voice died again.
Oh no.
I'm starting to think it hates me.
Just stick to clean for now.
I got this. No, quite. But life is full of unexpected twists and turns, as we well know.
And your actions have consequences.
Now then, let's see if I can't uncover the truth here. And maybe,
Yes, you have the floor, my dear fellow.
hopefully,
And yes, so
if I get it
actions
wrong,
do have consequences.
No, they
if I get it
don't.
wrong, I'll just take the L.
Sorry, ask me something quite.
You know,
Take that! I'm glad I read the little text. I read the little text.
it's the rules of passage in this frame here. They are obviously out of place. The way they're hanging crooked on the wall, as if they were put there in a hurry.
Did not
Yes.
happen. Not true.
As I'm sure you've already concluded.
I'm back.
That frame was originally over here. The size and shape are a perfect match.
Duh, you're right. When did the frame move?
Hardly the most observant of crewmen, are you, Mr. Stroganoff?
I do not understand the frame data.
I would think your captain is quite justified in having his reservations about your reliability.
Grr.
Oh dear, that really seemed to touch a nerve.
So, Mikotola, why don't you lift that frame off the wall?
Oh, he's dead.
That looks just like a bullet hole.
What? Who's been shooting walls without me?
I see. The projectile has been removed. Clearly, the careful occupant of this room has already disposed of it.
Be careful.
Now then, Mr. Stroganoff,
No.
I have the distinct impression that you are attempting to shield said occupant.
I don't know what you are talking about. Why would I protect East or stranger?
Ah, so we're talking about the same man, I see. Good. I'm sure we can get to the bottom of this in no time, aren't you? Because there's some very noteworthy evidence that explains the reason why you're lying for the man.
I don't want to believe anything.
Yes, you've been told to keep up this pretense, as clearly shown by...
I really don't know how to approach this one, Holmes.
Ah, my dear Mikotoba, simply keep first principles in mind. Study your subject from every angle.
Cough.
Yeah, no.
Bart, if you do that again, you're grounded.
I smell the same scum in the air.
Study your
I'm not
subject from
doing
every
anything. What do
angle.
you guys mean?
I save.
I smell safe scum in the air.
And I'm
hear
quite
it.
sure that you'll see it. In fact, I put a wager on it.
It smells like save scum in
So
the
I'm
air.
to glare at the fellow from all sides. Well, I can certainly do that.
And who's supposed to be cleaning up all the scum around here, Mr. Stroganoff?
I know nothing. Do not touch my red herrings. Do not touch my red herrings. Do not. Don't. I kill you. Don't touch them.
I'm looking really hard, Mr. Holmes.
Do not. Quit looking at me. Quit staring at me.
I'm gonna keep looking at you.
Quit staring at me.
Take that!
No, my red herring
You're
scarf.
taking this one. You're taking it.
Take the
You're
L.
taking it.
You're taking the L.
Take
You're taking the L.
I'm the main character, not you. Stop it.
Take the L.
Stop.
Take the
Stop.
Imagine if she shaved over it. Ouch. Oh god.
Hi, I'll
Oh
take
my
the
god.
Ls.
Oh god. Oh, it's thundering out. Oh, that was a loud bang.
That's what you guys get for not letting me load and do
You
my
look like
time
you're
thing.
Solia, you don't understand how scared I am. It was so strong yesterday, it actually knocked my entire school internet out.
Oh no.
And it blew open the doors in the town center.
Oh.
It's
You
actually
think
kind of...
I
It's
think you
terrifying
should.
that's coming
So you
back.
should. What I'm hearing is that you want me to load. All right, got it.
No. What I'm saying
You
is
have
take the L.
incurred the wrath of McGilded. You will die.
I already have the Wrath of McGilded. What do you mean?
No.
Oh, let me read my line.
Well,
Mikotoba,
no.
no games now with my words, were they not?
Come now, Mr. Holmes. Where's the fun in life without a little fooling around?
Oh, we're just saying the same things.
Oh, is it the same thing? It is the same thing.
It is the same thing.
But this
It is
part
the-
isn't.
Do not touch my red herrings ever again.
So, a Russian crewman is aiding a Japanese man to evade capture by an English detective.
Nationality needed to come into it. In this respect, at least, all humans are the same. Ask yourself what can spur a man to do the bidding of another about whom he knows precious little. There's only one thing in the whole world with such repugnant voluminous power.
Money.
Let's not get carried away now, Mr. Holmes.
Do not touch
Take
my
that!
tattoo.
What?
The guild gave me that tattoo. I kill you now.
Aren't you listening to me, Solia?
I don't know what you're saying!
Don't you
You know,
dare,
I forget
no.
you guys!
You Sora from Twitch.tv, so I saw you Sora.
I'm about to get really problematic on your stream, Solia.
Do not touch. Do not touch my money. That is my money. Do not touch it.
Wait a minute, I see it!
Oh!
Do not touch my money. Do not. Do not.
Take
Dog,
that!
That is my money.
Fine now.
Die.
It's almost too obvious for words.
Quite. The universal language of the world. Money.
You.
Wager that the Eastern fellow in question
How dare you?
is Saishiro Jigoku. Yes. Am I correct, strong seaman Stroganoff? So I presume you realize what this means, judging by your reaction. There are clear signs that a crime has been committed in this cabin.
How dare you?
And the way you're going, sir, you'll find yourself accused of being an accomplice.
But.
I believe you know, Mr. Stroganoff.
Oh.
You know where Mr. Jigoku is hiding at this precise moment in time.
I.
As always, Mikotoba, in matters of deduction, the furtive glance is your unfaltering ally.
Yes, I think you're onto something there, Mr. Holmes. You found the chink in this burly fellow's armor.
Whoa.
We need only follow the man's gaze to know where our prey is hiding.
I missed the gaze.
The slightest flicker of the pupils, a minutely delayed blink. Nothing escapes my attention, even that which is barely perceptible.
They call this barely perceptible, Mr. Holmes. The man's turned his entire head. It's not exactly what you describe as a furtive glance, is it? It's almost too obvious.
We shall let your tapping toes aside, my dear fellow.
Take that!
We could have done this at the start.
No. Do not touch my trunk.
You turned immediately to look at this large trunk, didn't you, Seaman Stroganoff?
How dare you?
The truth is, Saishiro Jigoku was unable to escape from the ship in time. And is, at this very moment, doing his best to stifle his breath inside this trunk.
If he still has a breath to take, I fear he may be running dangerously low on air. I imagine he didn't count on us making a nuisance of ourselves for quite so long. I think it would be in everyone's best interest for us to open the trunk as quickly as possible.
Oh, it wasn't that long. Solia saved scum, so, you know, it didn't take too long. But how can we? Are you forgetting about the combination log? The one that you said you didn't want to bother with? We don't even know the 7-digit code, Mr. Holmes.
Oh no, I can get
The combination lock can't be opened from inside the trunk. Therefore, there must have been an arrangement for somebody to open it after our departure.
Of course.
Oi.
In short, before Jigoku hid himself inside that trunk, he must have told somebody the 7-digit number for the lock.
I think I
As I'm
know
sure
where
you
it
can
is.
confirm, Mr. Stroganoff.
Now I know nothing about combination.
Mata! Don't move a muscle, my good seaman.
Mr. Solia, Miss Solia, how many letters is in Sholmes?
9.
9.
7!
9.
I count it right there, Jesus.
9.
9.
You know what? You know, I get it. That's all that matters. I'm Mikotoba in this instance, and I get it.
The code is 9, 9, 9.
Now, Mikotoba, would you do the honors and open the trunk?
How on earth do you expect me?
It's a 7-digit number, remember. Quickly now! We have little time! Use the Q key to look back at the at.
I already memorized the code. 5631045. 5, 6.
There is no 6.
Yes, there is. Or is that 9? Was it a 9? I'm probably dumb.
There's no 9 either.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, 9.
Oh, it's a 2. I'm sorry. That's a 2. I'm dumb.
No, it's a 4.
That's
Wait,
a chair.
wait a minute.
No, 5. It's upside down. See?
5, 2, 3, 1, 0,
5, 2, 3, 1, 0, 4, 5.
It's the number of him.
What?
I know. Okay, 5.
Think about the perspective.
I know. 2.
3, 1, 0, 4, 5. 3, 1,
2.
0.
No, wait, 1.
1, 0.
1?
1,
I got it. I swear I got
4,
it.
5.
I got you. 0, 4, 5. I swear I'm smart. I can memorize it for you.
Thanks.
Oh, I forgot to say take that.
Take that.
Objection.
Objection. Take that.
That did it. It's open.
Let's have Mega take Jigoku.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Wudgie couldn't be here. He had some come
You
up.
had the medal, didn't you?
Actually, no, not Mega. Danny.
You want me to take him?
I'm Abraham Lincoln.
Sure, I'll take him.
Well, Yuzin, you've found me now.
Oh.
Saishiro. I was really hoping beyond hope not to find you here, you know. But you're not entirely unsurprised, I take it. No, quite. I just wish it were some other way.
Well, are you ever going to introduce me?
Ah, your reputation precedes you, Mr. Holmes. I've read stories of many of your exploits. Excuse my manners, Mr. Holmes. This is Mr. Jikoku, my old friend and traveling companion.
But I'm your old friend. What do you mean?
Not anymore.
The devil's in the details, Mikotoba. I believe you meant to say your old friend and the British and the Japanese McGilded,
What?
who made the cowardly decision to flee the country without a word to anyone when things turned sour.
I see my reputation precedes me as well. What an honor. Well, Saishiro, are you going to explain all of this?
Nah.
You know it all by now, I imagine. What you didn't know, of course, is that 3 days ago, on the night before our arrival in Britain, an attempt was made on my life here on this very ship. By the Reaper of the Bailey. Yes, I've since heard. Because you were once prosecuted by the Reaper, weren't you? 10 years ago now, mind you. And I had no idea at the time what a dangerous individual he was. Anyways, when we arrived in London to find the symposium was postponed until goodness knows when, it became all too apparent to me that I might very well be targeted again. So you decided to flee the capital without saying a word to me about it.
Yeah, how dare you?
I'm afraid so, yes. Of course, I realize now. Maybe I should have told you. That I really ought to have confided in you.
And I should have told you.
It's somewhat surprising, I must say.
What is, Mr. Holmes?
Well, first-class cabins aboard luxury steamships are in very short supply. It's more than a little hard to believe that this one just happened to be available.
So says the protagonist of some colorful short stories. Well, I don't much care for your opinion, Mr. Holmes. Didn't care, plus didn't ask, plus ratio. The cabin did just happen to be available, so I purchased a ticket, and here I am.
Marcel.
I've just seen for myself the obvious remnants of that incident in this cabin. So you'd already purchased your return ticket before we even docked in Dover, had you? To prevent anyone else taking this cabin and seeing the evidence. Is that it, old friend?
No.
Eugen, I have nothing to say to you.
Well, in a mere 5 minutes, this ship will set off on its onward voyage and not make port again until Italy. I'm afraid we must insist that you disembark with us at once.
Nah.
You have no jurisdiction over my movements, Mr. Holmes.
Whoa.
Didn't ask, didn't care, ratio.
My own technique used to fool me. And then there's like just Mikotoba taking out the ratio.
Yeah, the ratio.
We have this, Saishiro. Take it.
It's a ratio.
What is it? It's the ratio. It's a subpoena from the Old Bailey. You're a man of the law. You know what the ramifications of ignoring a document like this from the British courts would be, old friend. You came prepared then, Eugen. I see you brought the receipts. Come on, let's go. Don't make this harder than it has to be.
One moment.
Uh-oh.
What is it, Mr. Holmes?
Inside Mr. Jigoku's trunk, I found this rather fascinating trinket.
It's a doorknob.
What is that? Saishiro? I can't help you, I'm afraid. Some small component from something or another. But what? I have no idea.
I have no idea.
By the look on his face, I think he genuinely doesn't know. I didn't use my thing, damn.
Well, let us pocket it as a small souvenir of our brief sojourns in Canada.
The small component has been entered into the court record.
Well, young Mr. Naruhodo, I think we've done as much as we can, I'm afraid.
Wait, why aren't you speaking telepathic with me now?
The rest will be on the shoulders of you and your assistant and Solia, who better knows. She's gonna get really angry.
What?
There's someone say there's this person controlling you. You don't have free will. You're being controlled.
Controlled what?
Good luck, Mark.
3rd November, 12:10 p.m. The Old Bailey courtroom.
Miss Naruhodo, are you okay?
Susato, I just learned something very life-changing, and I am concerned by literally everything and everyone. But you know what? I'm just gonna ignore that fact because, it's nothing new.
Kazuma Asogi, I know you, and I know you wouldn't lie. But still, there's no doubt that you're holding something back. You know more than you're saying.
During the past 30 minutes, while this court was adjourned, all possible efforts were expended. But sadly, Mr. Jigoku's whereabouts could not be ascertained.
Oh no, my lord, he was found. He was found on the ship.
What ship?
The SS Grouse. He was found. You guys didn't hear it?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, fine. Whenever I need something to be heard, it's not heard. But whenever I don't want it to be heard, y'all of you hear it. Okay, fine. That makes sense.
We must accept the unfortunate conclusion that the Reaper has already done the deed.
Kazuma! Come on.
There's no sense in wasting any more of the court's time. The prosecution called for an immediate verdict.
Objection! No. The trial cannot end now.
Why not?
You're a Japanese man, Ryunosuke. You should know when to lay down your sword.
And you should know never to presume when the battle is won.
The court has already been presented with all the evidence and heard all the relevant testimony.
Yeah, I have another one. It's called a communicator, which says they found Judge Jigoku.
Those aren't real.
And there can only be one conclusion, that the accused is guilty.
I mean, really not necessarily, but anyways, all relevant testimony? Far from it.
Big guilty.
There's still a crucial witness, from whom the court has yet to hear a single word of testimony.
In that case, call your witness to the stand at once, counsel.
Yes, my lord. Tomorrow, if possible.
The witness is already on his way and scheduled to arrive tomorrow.
Who on earth is this crucial witness?
Seshiro Jigoku. Seriously, you guys didn't hear it? The very man allegedly murdered by the Reaper.
Judge Jigoku! You found him?
Yes. Okay, more or less,
Are you not listening?
Bang, bang. But the investigations of every policing resource in the capital suggest that Jigoku is already dead. How in the name of God did you find the man?
It's called telepathy, my lord. And
It's
honestly,
called phoning a friend.
And yes, phoning a friend. So he was located in Canada during the recess at the port of Dunkirk. Thanks to one of Mr. Sherlock Holmes' famous deductions.
Sherlock Holmes.
Inspector Gregson almost certainly met with Mr. Jigoku on the night of his death. Because along with Prosecutor Sogi, Gregson was on a mission to assassinate the man. I guess we're still going with this. Which means that Seshiro Jigoku is the sole witness.
His name is not Seshiro.
Oh, shush up, my lord, who can clarify exactly what happened aboard the SS Grouse on the 31st of October. I'm done with this.
I'm tired.
Tired of this.
Well, it would appear that it's too soon to move to adjudication at this point.
The prosecution concurs. The court must hear Mr. Jigoku's testimony. No judgment should be passed until all testimony has been considered.
In that case, I hereby call the end of today's proceedings. Court will reconvene at the same hour tomorrow. No objections from either side?
No, my lord.
No objections, my lord.
I got saved by Holmes of all people.
Yeah, I know.
We live to fight another day. By the skin of our teeth. And Holmes. He's a homie.
And the first time since Rise from the Ashes that we have a 3-day trial. And we're still going. We're still going just a little bit.
Still going?
Yes.
Nah, guys, we're into the stream now. Thank you all so much for stopping by.
It's really, really short.
Thank you all so much for stopping by. I'm kidding.
I demand it continues.
Okay, we're continuing. The unexpected halt of proceedings sent a clamor around the courtroom. But outside the Bailey, where Londoners knew nothing of the secret trial within, it was a typical still night. Then, at a little past 8 o'clock that evening, Mr. Holmes and his partner returned to Baker Street. 3rd November, 8:07 p.m., Holmes' suite.
We have returned, my dear fellows!
Holmes! Welcome back to Britain, and thank you for your timely help. You care, I think. Do you care? I don't know. You always do like a flip-flop thing of you caring and not caring.
Think nothing of it. I believe you've had an even more wearing day than Mikotoba and I know.
You could say that. We were on the brink of defeat in court earlier.
So this prosecutor, Asogi, had you on the ropes, did he? And he's your best friend, you say?
Yeah...
Former.
Well... He's not really the man I knew in Japan anymore. Kazuma's changed.
Oh.
Oh, Miss Naruhodo.
I mean, literally, he, like, did something, and he doesn't even tell me, even though I tell him all my worries and woes. And what did you, like...
Oh, yeah, obviously you proved that I was there, but I'm not gonna tell you a thing. Like,
come on, who does that? What best friend does that?
I mean, it's incredible. To think that he'd even entertain the idea of acting as the Reaper's assassin.
Well, nevertheless, you must introduce me. After all, I've only ever met the young man as a corpse.
Yeah.
When all this started, almost a year ago.
That's a lie.
Mr. Holmes still hasn't told us the truth about what really happened back then. About the motivation for what he himself described as a great detective's lie.
Oh, wait, I just remembered. I believe I put down a few bones of, expended meat in the wardrobe that you were in.
What?
Yeah.
Bones
Did you not hear, Mark?
of meat in my wardrobe that I was in?
Yep.
Yes, I had myself a bit of a snack.
He gets hungry.
It's
true.
Okay. I cleaned the meat
We've
right
all
off.
been there
You
before, Mark.
ate the bones?
We've all
No,
been
no,
there
no!
before.
I left the. I ate the meat. I left the bones.
Yeah, you need to say something for me. I was hungry.
Wait, but there was sleeping powder on it, so you should be sleepy.
Now,
A great detective
Mark.
never sleeps.
But yeah, do you remember the escapade? The second one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was unconscious. No, wait, he wasn't.
This was like a night or two before the events of Case 2.
Oh, right.
Holmes was already on it. Now then, I must say, it's really quite a journey all the way to Canada.
Canadian.
well, it is another country, Mr. Holmes. So, what news of Judge Jigoku?
Here he is.
We took him to Scotland Yard.
Whoa.
Oh, am I back? That was weird.
Yes.
You're back.
That was odd. We took him to Scotland Yard. The investigating detectives there have a lot of questions for the man.
Poor Professor Mikitova. This must be quite a shock for him.
You have no idea, Mark.
Ah, yes. I picked this up at the telegraph office on our way home.
What is it?
Surely you haven't forgotten already. I put upon you for the matter only yesterday.
What?
You put upon me, Mr. Holmes. I had to fill out your telegram to Japan and foot the bill as well.
Oh, you've had a reply already?
What? What was so urgent, though, Mr. Holmes?
Such matters can wait until later. I'm far too hungry for an involved conversation at present. Well, that's good news, because supper's ready, everyone. Ah, and what a feast it is! If I were not the wise, I'd think the trial were won today. Roast beef, kipper, stew, steak, and kidney pie, Yorkshire pudding. Tomorrow could be a very long day, so eat up.
No.
In that case, I think I'll seat myself just here. This place appears to be the only one set with a helping of pheasant as well. Oh, sorry, Holmesy, not there. Huh? Why ever not? Are we in set places this evening? Yep, and that place is for Susie's daddy.
For me?
That's right. I made it especially for you, Professor Mickey.
Mickey Mouse.
I see. Well, that's terribly kind of you. Mark, I'm reaching out to you telepathically.
Okay, yeah.
Did you kill Kazuma yet?
Clearly not! And I'm not going to entertain this idea anymore! Just because he is a lot different and he may have, I don't know, may or may not have killed him. I'm still not going to kill him!
Now, Mark, I thought I taught you better than that. If you're to become a Viltrumite, Mark, you're going to need to accept...
Okay, what is a Viltrumite? I don't even know what that is or what you're talking about!
Oh, are you sure you want to go? In fact, if you ask me what a Viltrumite is one more time, I might give you the speech. The speech that's 10 minutes long.
What are you talking about?
Oh, hang
I'm
on.
not even your son!
I have to speak to the one like pulling your strings. Solia, do you want to ask that question again? Do you want Mr. Naruhodo to ask that question again?
Who's
Do you want to
Solia?
have to speak?
That's
The one
me.
pulling your strings.
Yes, I know, that's me. Wait, I'm being controlled? Yeah, you're kind of in a video game.
Picaro.
What?
Picaro!
What? Yeah. So, anyways, you don't need to do the speech because unfortunately I don't think we've got time. Maybe it has to be something for like extra later on.
I had the entire "you're nearly full-blooded" speech prepared. I was ready, but all right. Go ahead.
I mean, if you really want to.
No, Mr. Naruhodo, Mark. Look, this is good news. Just because you're being controlled doesn't mean that we can't finally set out and do what we were meant to do. Be
Professor
who we were
McKay?
meant to be. Yes, what is it?
I'm hungry. It's a shame, really.
It's a shame being hungry.
I don't know if I'm hungry.
Mr.
Naruhodo.
Naruhodo.
He's broken. He's broken now.
What? What?
Bear
do you mean?
with it.
Cosmo, I literally just.
Bear with it, me boy!
That was. Oh, jeez. Well, for a brief moment, I believed it. That Susie and I were half sisters, I mean.
Oh!
Oh.
Wait, what?
Iris, do you mean...
Yes, I know now. I overheard yesterday. I secretly listened into the conversation you had. After I tricked you all into thinking I'd left.
Bruh moment.
What? What?
He died.
Collapses.
He's friggin' dead.
Okay, Naruhodo, you really gotta do the line. I can't have Susato just do your lines for you.
What? I am literally mind broken. Just do the line. Fine. The misunderstanding arose because of that autopsy report from 10 years ago. But actually, it turned out that neither Dr. Wilson nor Professor Mikotoba are Iris's father. We're just gonna skip this.
Well done!
Yes, about that, Iris. You know, I know. You can't tell me at the moment.
Oh, Iris.
The pheasant is by way of an apology. I'm sorry for eavesdropping.
Oh, no, that's quite all right, Miss Iris.
Then why don't I get any apologetic pheasant?
So just who is Iris's father? I suppose that's not something we'll be able to be finding out today.
Me boy.
So then, let us dine, while our largely pheasantless plates are still piping hot.
Fine idea, Mr. Holmes. It all looks absolutely delicious.
Eat as much as you like. There are always seconds.
This could be our last chance to ask questions before tomorrow's trial. About that telegram from Japan, and about Cosmo. Can't let this opportunity slip away.
Imagine as Naruhodo's asking questions, an extra text box shows up beneath. What's a Viltrumite?
I am at present what you would say, Mr. Naruhodo, angry.
I am angry.
You're angry? Oh, you are angry.
Yeah. He is angry. He wants that pheasant. Oh god, why'd you take a picture?
Angry.
By the way, to progress the scene, you speak to Holmes. Take as much time as you like elsewhere, because we're a bit ahead of schedule, actually.
Let's look at the food. Roast
Mr.
beef,
Holmes, why are you
kibble,
angry?
Stew, steak, and
Because
kidney
I
pie.
can't see my forehead.
Yorkshire pudding. It all looks mouth-wateringly good.
Indeed, it does. And if it were accompanied by even morsel of pheasants, it would be perfection.
You're still on that?
Oh, it really does look like a feast for celebrating a victory in court.
Or indeed for drowning one's sorrows after defeat.
I hope you aren't referring to the trial tomorrow, Mr. Holmes.
He's clearly still in mourning over the pheasant at the moment.
He is very petty.
He's very, very angry
He's
about
very,
not having a pheasant.
angry.
Oh, well, that's not what I meant, but we're just gonna...
Violent? No. No.
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Holmes, what are you doing? Even though I know what you're doing.
He's so sad.
Surely it's abundantly clear that I wasn't brooding over Mikotoba's refusal to share his pheasant with me. Nevertheless, I felt the need to withdraw from the social circle
Mr.
for a
Holmes,
while.
this pheasant is
Look on
really
the
good.
eyes.
It is really good. Maybe you should go get a pheasant. just not mine.
Yeah, go get your own pheasant.
It was really good. It's like eating it in front of him, just munching.
No.
It was good.
I think I remember why you departed 10 years ago, Mikotoba.
Was it to go get a pheasant?
Yes.
Okay, while I'm eating, what did I miss?
Ton. You missed a whole court session.
Really? Man.
Well, can't really do it.
Sorry, Holmesy, but I cooked that pheasant especially for Susie's daddy. Even though I've played the role of father to you for far longer.
Stop being petty.
Mr. Holmes, could I discuss some things with you? Like, actually discuss and you actually talk to me?
Certainly, my dear fellow. I find myself in quite the mood for a spell of conversation. No doubt, you're hungry to learn more of my deep love for the game. Of game.
Of the game.
Of
that too.
the game.
Of the game of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. What? Anyways, I could probably contain my curiosity on that one.
You needn't look at me in that fashion.
In what fashion?
It seems that before we discuss the pheasant, we have some rather unpheasant matters to discuss.
Check with pheasant.
Yes!
And Holmes, are you actually going to tell me the truth this time? Please, I need to actually, like, a truth thing after today.
Yes.
Alright. You better not be lying! So, what was in the telegram you received back from Japan, then?
Ah, this. I think my lucky stars had arrived in time. Records found as indicated. Duplicate follows. K. Asogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, J. Watson.
What?
Those 4 names. We've come across that exact same list before.
They came up in that unforgettable case last spring. What appeared to be a simple case of aggravated
Well,
murder
it seems I'm dead.
turned out to be a
Play.
masking monumental intrigue. A plot that involved the sale of British governmental secrets to foreign states. And exposing the means by which those secrets were being leaked, we deciphered a fragment of a message.
My blood is leaking out my body.
K. Asogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, J. Watson. But we didn't find the names out until the case was over. And we never did get to the bottom of what they meant.
What?
All we knew, I hiccuped, was that the information had been sent by somebody in the British government to somebody in Japan. Oh, it's probably Jigoku. So,
Steve?
Why are the names coming up again now?
Yes. Where did the sender of your telegram discover them, Mr. Holmes?
I have here the message I had wired yesterday. Allow me to read it to you. Enter Judge Jigoku's office undetected and investigate telegram records. Expect to find communication from Britain dated 1 year ago. List of 4 names. Meet by tomorrow. Naruhodo.
I sent it to a detective I know who specializes in clandestine missions of this nature.
You asked Inspector Hosonaga to undertake such an onerous task for you?
Onerous?
And in my name?
I wonder what guise he opted for this time.
My dear fellows, it was a matter of great urgency, you understand.
Anyway, the list of names was found in Seishiro's office, as Mr. Holmes predicted.
So you mean that mysterious collection of names that was sent from Britain to Japan was...
It was sent to Judge Shigoku! He was the intended recipient!
I don't believe it.
But that doesn't answer the question of what the list of names actually signifies.
I did formulate a hypothesis about that. But without a shred of evidence, I couldn't possibly have shared it.
Mr. Holmes looks deadly serious for once.
The telegram from Japan has been entered to the court record. Got it. That tragedy we had to go through on the SS Buria. It was all for nothing! Cosmo wasn't dead at all! We were completely taken in by the lie you told us. Your great detective's lie.
I took no pleasure in deceiving you.
I think you actually do, and you're lying to me again. You think that all of these years, like this past year, I didn't pay attention to how much you loved deceiving me?
Well, you know what I love? I love this pheasant.
I think you actually like deceiving me, and you're actually not sorry at all.
However, at the time, all that concerned me was preventing the young man's study tour from taking place, whatever the cost.
What?
I capitalized on the events that transpired to see that he was sent back to Japan.
His remains, you mean?
Precisely, Miss Susato. And then, I made sure that somebody else was sent into Britain in his stead.
Oh my! You mean...
The arrangement between our 2 countries was already in place. 1 university student lawyer and 1 judicial assistant to be accommodated on the study tour. In other words, by arranging for someone else to fill the place originally intended for Mr. Asogi, I would successfully prevent the man from arriving on our shores for several years at least.
Wait, do you mean to say that it was all in aid of stopping Cosmo coming to Britain? That's why you...
Think back, Mr. Naruhodo.
Think, Naruhodo,
Was there not somebody who quite casually urged you to continue on the voyage to England?
Mega.
Shoot, who was Hosonaga?
Onoken. Mega.
Okay. The terms of this study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. In the light of Mr. Asogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead.
My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. All you require is 1 lawyer, and the study tour can continue, surely.
But there is no one else with the necessary qualifications, Mr. Holmes. We know of no other lawyer.
The voyage to London still promises a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourself another suitable lawyer.
So, you manipulated me?
Yes. I've often remarked on the extraordinary lengths to which friendship will drive a man. I was quite sure that you would rise to the challenge for your late friend.
I don't believe it.
But if it was all contrived... I mean, what happened was treated by the authorities as murder. A woman was mistakenly arrested as the perpetrator. What do you suppose became of her?
Naturally, I didn't allow the misapprehension to have any serious repercussions. I subsequently explained everything and assisted the unfortunate soul in finding the foreign refuge she sought.
I seem to remember Miss Susato and I had some rather strong words for her.
Well, she was certainly not devoid of all guilt. She deserved every word, I'm sure.
I wonder if she made it to America then. And I think above America, that's France, isn't it?
I'm afraid I simply cannot comprehend it. Why would you go to such lengths, Mr. Holmes? Why were you so determined to stop Kazuma-sama from reaching Britain?
I mean, I think that's obvious. The professor case.
The truth is, 12 months ago,
I died.
There was already a very tangible omen of the impending tragedy, you see.
Oh!
An omen that, at this very moment in time, is close at hand.
An omen of all those tragic events that already existed a year ago. Is close at hand? We need to find out exactly what Mr. Holmes knows.
What? Oh.
You need to present something.
Let's not talk to him about it.
Let's just not talk to him about it.
Don't stab us further.
Oh. Mr. Holmes, would you mind looking at this? I thought it was it, but it's not.
This is hardly the time, Mr. Naruhodo, as I'm sure you will appreciate.
No, of course not, but I mean...
My attention is entirely drawn to one single matter now. The pheasant!
Oh my god.
Anyone would think you hadn't eaten in weeks.
But yeah, I just gave it to you.
Oh.
Give this man a bird, please.
Sorry, jeez. There was no room for doubt with your instructions in this telegram, Mr. Holmes. You were very clear that it was Judge Jigoku's office that should be searched. So, you obviously knew that's where the list of names would be found.
K. Asogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, J. Watson.
But we only learnt of those 4 names just over 6 months ago now. And only because they appeared as part of the top secret government communications that were leaked.
That's true, yes. But at the time, you were unaware of the background. You see, those 4 names were wired to Japan. Around 6 months before that, approximately this time last year, in fact, when you were both still in Japan. It really would be hypocrisy on my part to approve of us for intercepting state secrets. Because after all, I'm perpetually eavesdropping on communications between the British and Japanese governments.
You what?
You what?
Hello?
You're perpetually doing what? How?
Mr. Holmes, that is highly interesting.
Never mind the details, Mikotoba, but you should know.
I mean, that's illegal.
No secret is safe from Sherlock Holmes when he has designs on knowing it.
So, not only you evade taxes, but you're actually eavesdropping on confidential government secrets?
Yes!
Holmes. How are you not caught and arrested?
Become ungovernable.
Because I am Sherlock Holmes!
Holmes. That's not a good reason.
Mr. Holmes, this is highly inappropriate for a Viltrumite.
Mr. Naruhodo, you must learn to become ungovernable.
Holmes.
Boy.
Did you have a good childhood? Did you have good parents? Did they treated you nice? I'm literally trying to figure out now how on earth you're raised like this.
You're getting
I plead the
very
5th.
personal now.
You plead the 5th.
Yeah, I plead the 5th, yes.
You're like Kazuma.
Hey, at least I didn't... wait.
Oh my! Mr. Holmes! What a fabulous line!
Susato,
Now.
don't encourage him!
1 month after that list of 4 names was wired to the recipient Jigoku in Japan, Dr. John H. Watson was murdered.
Boy.
As soon as I learned of the incident, a hypothesis rapidly took shape in my mind. As it turned out, I was partly correct and partly mistaken. Nevertheless, it was the beginning of all the tragic events that were to follow.
Mr. Holmes, please. Tell us what you know. Tell us about these 4 names and the tragedy to which they're all somehow connected.
And if you say the Professor K's, I'm going to scream.
As I said when I learned of Dr. Watson's murder in Japan, my mind immediately turned to those 4 names. Because, you see, there was someone else on the list who I believe to be recently deceased.
What? Who?
A Shin as it was transcribed in Japanese script. In actual fact, Miss Asa Shin. That was a familiar name to me. She was a professional killer, well known among London's unsavory classes.
Oh, I see.
But she had completely vanished from existence several months before Watson's murder. So I came to the logical conclusion that she had herself been killed. And accordingly, I became fearful for the lives of the 2 remaining persons on the list.
Case Asogi and T. Gregson.
Oh no.
Owing to our proximity, I decided to take measures to protect Gregson myself. But I determined it would be safest if young Asogi were to stay away from Britain.
So that's why you went such lengths to prevent his study tour from going ahead.
Exactly.
So, you already knew who Kazuma-sama was, Mr. Holmes?
Of course. No.
Oh yes, Holmes and I have exchanged correspondence for years. I had recounted many tales about Asogi to him in my letters, and the news of Dr. Watson's death, of course.
So, Dr. Watson is dead then? I didn't know.
Oh, Iris.
I know he wasn't my daddy, but still. That's very sad.
I'm so sorry, Iris. We knew the significance of the name, obviously, but we just couldn't bring ourselves to tell you.
For obvious reason, of course.
No.
But what you just told us, Mr. Holmes, doesn't completely tie in with the facts. There's one big hole in your hypothesis.
A big hole, not Miss Naruhodo.
Ah yes. You mean about Asa Shin, I presume.
Oh, of course.
Exactly. She wasn't killed, was she? She was in Japan, posing as a visiting student under the assumed name of Giselle Brett.
I'm glad you're keeping up, my dear fellow. But I only became aware of that fact 2 days ago, in the foyer of the Great Waterloo Hotel.
Wait, but Susato, you're the one who took that case. Why didn't you tell us? Stupid Susato, why didn't you tell us?
Ah!
Not canon.
And upon hearing that startling revelation,
Not canon.
the hypothesis that I'd formed surrounding those 4 names was completely turned topsy.
Topsy.
What? Topsy? Okay.
Oh, I understand.
What do you mean? You say your hypothesis was turned topsy, Mr. Holmes?
I had believed all 4 names on the list to be the names of victims. However, I was mistaken.
Very much.
Oh.
Turn off
Hello?
your hero myself bit.
Practicing, okay? I was hyping myself up. Jeez.
Very much so. Asa Shin was a killer. So this telegram is a list of both victims and killers, is it?
Indeed. And it would seem that Miss Shin was dispatched from Britain with the sole intention of dispatching Dr. Watson. Her visiting student status being merely a front.
Ah!
Which would, of course, explain why no motive could be determined for her actions.
So the real reason Dr. Watson was killed by Asa Shin is because he was the target of an assassination.
And full on with that knowledge, fresh consideration of this telegram puts the list in a very different perspective.
What do you mean? Even though I know what it means Gregson wanted to kill Kazuma or
Well,
vice versa.
does it not strike you? There is another among the 4 who subsequently became a visiting student.
Wait, you mean...
But of course, a name you know only too well.
You mean Cosima? No! He did say in court earlier today.
Yes, on 31st of October, I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk in order to carry out a mission.
Oh, this is me.
And that mission was?
The assassination of the Mark.
Pog.
Fuck.
Young Mr. Silgi accepted that mission a year ago now.
Surely not.
In conclusion, this document is a contract of sorts. An international agreement, one might say. Detailing an assassin exchange.
An assassin exchange?
How could Cosima possibly have got involved in something like that?
Let's assume that we have two parties, each wishing to dispose of a distinct individual. Those two parties then make a contract to swap their respective assassination targets. That would then be an assassin exchange.
Bless you.
Thank you.
So, to begin with, the British assassin is dispatched as a visiting student to Japan, where she kills her target. And then the Japanese assassin is dispatched as a visiting student to Britain in order to eliminate his target. It certainly does sound like an exchange.
But
Student.
what on earth is the point?
Don't forget, Naruhodo, that the British assassin at least escaped conviction. Thanks to diplomatic immunity afforded by consular jurisdiction, of course.
Oh, yes.
Extraterritorial rights!
Oh, no.
Precisely.
Home
Such
court.
Such jurisdiction should be null and void under the terms of the new treaty between our two countries. Alas, so the fact that it was brought into play suggests intervention at the very highest levels.
The highest levels?
These murders were two sides of the same coin, linked not by a common motive, but by contractual agreement. As such, they appeared utterly unrelated. Yet in truth, the assassins were complicit in one singular, devilish scheme. That dissociation and the safeguard of diplomatic immunity were, I believe, the motivation behind this plot.
Wait a minute, Holmes. If this telegram really is describing the exchange of assassins as you're suggesting, it would mean that the Japanese killer's target was never Saishiro Jigoko at all. It would mean Asogi's target was actually Inspector Gregson.
What? Cosima was here for Gregson?
So Judge Jigoku wasn't actually the Mark?
Yes, that's exactly what it would mean.
I hold myself personally responsible for failing to keep the inspector safe.
Mr. Holmes.
I told him of my fears and implored him to seek a transfer to an overseas position. Obviously, with the young pickpocket in tow.
Yes, Gina.
Come to think of it, Inspector Gregson did mention that to us at the Great Exhibition. That he'd be transferring to the Canadian police and taking Gina with him.
But without informing me, he engaged in one last assignment, it seems. And sadly, it turned out to be his very last.
This is too much to take in.
All right, everyone, that's quite enough of all that serious talk for one day. Isn't it, Holmesy? I mean, look at the time. Ah, quite right, Iris. We must conclude our preparations for tomorrow.
What preparations?
Preparations.
Preparations.
Well, I think I should make my way back to my hotel room now. This has certainly been a night to remember.
It is a little bit sad, though.
Huh?
I mean, I like the idea of you being my daddy. Because then Susie would have been my big sister.
I'm sorry, Iris.
I'm sorry, Iris. You don't have the Viltrumite genes.
I know, Iris. I was thinking quite the same thing.
Oh no, she got no weapons, might be.
Were you?
But if somebody like me would be worthy, I would be delighted to become your sister.
What? Really?
Oh yes, without question.
So, you'll teach me all the ways you know how to throw Ryu to the floor?
Oh my god.
Oh my! Will you teach me how to abuse people?
Oh.
I want to try it on Holmes next.
Yes, yes, of course. It would be my pleasure.
You didn't have to agree quite so readily, Susato.
Oh, but wait a minute. If Susie's gonna be my big sister, you could be my big brother if you want, Ryu.
Huh? What? I mean, sure, but not... I mean, yeah, I guess, fine, if you'll have me, I'll be gladly be your brother, but not because Susato's your sister.
Well done, Iris. We must always be mindful of feelings. I've raised you so well.
Wait a minute, so wait, if me and Susato are your brother and sister, does that make Holmes our dad?
No.
Yes.
Bully him.
He don't deserve the right.
Does that make him our dad?
Yes.
Deadbeat dad.
Yes.
And I'm your dad as well.
No. Oh, no, because Mikotoba is actually Susato. No, but I guess if I'm brother with
If
Iris,
you're a
I
brother
guess
with
then
Iris, and Iris is a sister with Susato,
Susato, and thus that would
makes
make me
you
that.
my son. Hello,
Oh,
son.
no.
Hello, son.
Oh, no.
Hello, Mark.
No, I'm not.
You're
Mom.
nearly full-blooded.
My dear children.
Because being sensitive is your strong suit naturally.
Right, I'm going to work extra hard for tomorrow now. Because it's for my big brother and sister.
What is all this talk about preparing for tomorrow? Like, actually, can we get back on that track? Preparing what?
You'll just have to wait and see.
Oh.
Good luck in court tomorrow. I'm expecting a sterling performance.
You know, you did already help with Judge Jigoku, so I'll give you that. I'll do my very best, of course.
I told you I would save the world in the end.
I guess you did. Wait, the world? Would that actually constitute the world? I mean, Britain, it would be terrible. My life would be terrible because I was... Actually, yeah, if you didn't do that, I would be going to jail and getting executed on the spot. So, yeah, I would be dying. So the overnight break in the trial's proceedings became a crucial turning point, exposing new truths whilst posing new conundrums. That list of 4 names on the telegram in Judge Jigoku's office, and the extraordinary assassination plot in which my best friend had somehow become involved. I felt as though I had been plunged into an even greater darkness all of a sudden. But at the same time, I felt sure I would see the light again soon. Probably not. Because I was lucky enough to have the most wonderful family in the world standing steadfastly behind me. Minus Susato.
Steadfastly, Mr.
Okay.
Steadfastly.
Okay, Dad. Steadfastly behind me. Minus
Which
Susato.
dad, him or me?
Holmes.
Okay. Well, you know what? You can call
is the
Holmes
last
dad. You
time
just call
you
me
ever
Papa,
see him.
okay?
Okay, so Holmes is daddy or Papa. All right, fine.
And this is the last time you ever see them again.
Probably.
To be continued.
Yay!
I'm surprised we got through this part on so quick, basically.
So.
But yeah, that's just good news for tomorrow then, or not tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
next
yeah,
week.
we're gonna stream this game tomorrow. Let's go.
Alright.
Woo!
Even though I won't be here tomorrow, let's go.
Let's go.
Go.
I also won't be here tomorrow, so let's go stream tomorrow.
Yo.
So yeah, big information dump at the end. Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
still
man.
kind of don't understand half of it, but that's fine. I don't need to.
Yeah,
And we have new lore. We have the lore that Ryunosuke now knows he's not in control.
He literally is just part of a game with someone controlling him from behind the scenes.
Named McGilded.
And now all that's left is McGilded.
That's all.
Me boy, it was me pulling the strings, me boy.
Yeah, this guy, John McGill, just sitting in his chair, having control plugged in behind Renosuke's back. Leg kicked up.
Controlling what?
Like he just this is entire the game he's just playing on his TV.
He's like using an Xbox controller.
Exactly. Gotta be a better play, my boy. Well, what if you
Never
want?
heard of me, boy. Do you have DualShock compatibility?
What? Well, there's even DualShock compatibility.
What if
you
you
figured
wanted?
out later, me boy.
What?
What if you wanted to go to heaven, but God said, "Hello, my dear fellow."
What if you wanted to go to heaven, but God said, "Ah, me boy."
Oh man. All right, so I think with that, we ready to close. Anybody have any final thoughts?
Meep.
I got to use voice mod.
Yay.
Let's go.
Picaro, I'm sorry we couldn't get you a role.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it is fine. I had to go back and see what happened. 'Cause I am so lost.
Stuff
Yeah,
I
a ton
see.
of stuff.
and things.
Apparently, big enough that big enough to hear from Iris's mouth. Oh, I thought you were gonna be my sister. I was like, okay, I clearly missed the whole episode.
Yeah.
Well,
It's like a soap drama up in here. Soap opera.
big soap opera. You have to see the whole thing in order to understand it.
That's attorney, folks.
Next time on Game Grumps.
Next time on Game Grumps. But yes, next stream is actually going to be Sunday at 7 to 8 because, as I said, I'm literally not going to be here tomorrow.
Yeah, 9.
Yeah.
Sunday 7. Wait. 7.
I'll be here.
7 p.m.
Unless.
Not a.m.
Is that EST?
Yes, EST.
Let's go. I'm gonna be late,
No, it's
baby.
Woo! I mean, it's gonna be the multi-stream, so I mean, I don't know what I'm doing with that. Probably play Among Us. I don't know.
Among Us? Wait, on
Among
Sunday?
Us?
Among Us.
Yeah.
Maybe I could join if I get out.
Probably.
Ever.
When the imposter is sauce.
When the imposter is sauce.
Is sauce. Yes. I'm slowly corrupting all of you. My work here is almost done.
Joke's on you. I'm incorruptible because I was already corrupted.
Man.
Anyway, let's end the stream off with the Omni-Man speech.
Go, Dan.
But you have to do it in the McGilded voice.
Dan.
Cool.
No worries. He just stares into space. That is a speech.
Yeah, Dan right now is just like,
Sorry. I was looking at a video. What?
You're gonna do the Omni thing speech. Go. Do it.
Is Mark here?
Marky.
Yes, Mark is here.
Marky Mark.
Mark, talk to me, son.
And the cool bunch.
Wait, son. I mean, I don't remember having my name being Mark. What?
Mark, I know that you think it's bad that you're not in control, but this is good news. We can finally do what we were meant to do. Be who we were meant to be. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you the truth, Mark. Not until you had your powers. Not until I was sure.
What?
Hey boy.
What are you talking about?
I had to be sure you were a Viltrumite.
What's a Viltrumite? What?
Mark, do you have any idea how long we live? The older we get, the slower we age. How old are you now, Mark?
I don't know. I'm like 17.
And yet you look like you're 10.
What?
Viltrumite DNA is so pure. Viltrumite DNA is so pure. You're nearly full-blooded. You'll live for thousands of years. Do you understand what that means?
everyone you know and love will be gone before you even look 30.
What?
It's not something I want for you, Mark. This isn't your world. It's theirs. But we can help them. We can stop wars, eliminate hunger, give them medical technology centuries ahead of what they have now.
I don't think we necessarily can. It's just the two of
We've
us.
already been doing it.
What?
If it wasn't for you and me, this planet would be in flames. All we have to do is welcome Earth in our empire.
Empire? What? What empire?
I do love your mother, Mark, but she's more like a pet to me.
Mikotomo, what did you do to my mother? What?
This is the only way, Mark.
Your mother?
Only what do you no, what do you mean? What did you do to my mother?
Mark, calm down.
I'm quite pressed that he remembered the entire speech.
What do you mean, my mother?
Calm down, Mark. We have a responsibility to Viltrum.
I don't understand. What? No, stop. Wait, no, stop, please.